Oh, oh. File. Hey, everybody. I know you can hear me. I had some, I have like some binders right here and they're stacked up. And so a paper fell right around the time that I went live. How are you doing? So sorry for being late. I pushed it back because of, um, anyways, because Megan was live and I was like, uh-oh. So I pushed it back and then well, that's some cat-like reflexes, huh? Yes, it is. These people corrode my areas, okay, with all of their gibberish, and it's a lot to keep up with. I guess that's the path that I chose, but, hey. So I can only blame myself. Anyways, good morning. How are you doing? Glad you are here. Hi, just me. How are you? It's so good to see you. And Rachel and KJ and Fancy Nancy. And to Donna, or sis, you should have been a detective. Oh, Wayne won't let me smoke a cigarette in the Denali. Mr. Wayne, good job. No, I'm picking. I understand. I understand. It really sucks whenever you need one and things just don't accommodate what you need. I know. I get it. So I'm sorry that that's happening to you. But, you know, I get it. Y'all better be safe, okay? Better be safe. Is it snowing? Did it snow over in Tennessee? And Donna, did you get snow? Yeah. It's like freaking it's 36 right now here. So, still sweating. Gotta love this time of life. But anyway, so glad you guys are here. Oh, hey, Liza Joe. How are you? Oh, and Aaron Soper, you're in Utah. What time for you? Now. Hey, Gene P. It's good to see you. If I know that was from earlier, but if you catch this again or if you're here now, hi. So glad you're here. Thank y'all so much for being here. So yeah, Megan was going over Tylee's interview interview with Chandler Police. And it's one I haven't visited frequently, not like all the other ones. I mean, I have wore out all of the other interviews. So it's just hard. It's just hard. Thank you, KJ. Some cigarette money. Woo woo. Thank you. Really appreciate you and Mr. Wayne. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. For real. You a real one for real. Just being silly. Thank y'all. I'll smoke one for you. Not in a Denali though. Just maybe a platinum. I'm kidding. Hey Janelle, it's good to see you. Would you say just me? Lord girl, we haven't been out of the single digits all week until today. Wow. Single digits. That's nuts. Oh. Hmm. Well, I mean, again, thank you, KJ. I mean, I would do cartwheels for you, but that would be very embarrassing. So, but that's what I feel like I need to do. I need to be like, woo woo or something. Like I need to do like a little tap dance for you. But you're going to do flash dance for us as Lori Daybell, right? Or the Lori Daybell defense team. Oh, y'all. So this motions in Limine is interesting. So I turned on my tube yesterday and KJ was on and I caught it. I caught your live late. And so I didn't catch the beginning and it just kind of went into warp speed after, I showed up on the live and we, swapped comments. And so ever since then, well, I slept, but yesterday, as soon as your live was over, KJ, I took to my AI and I was like, what could the strategies be? What could the possible oh, thank you, Fancy Nancy. Oh, it's March 31st, 2025, in the year of our Lord, right? 2025, March 31st, 2025. Next damn month. Next dang month. The next hearing for Lori, a pretrial hearing, is March 18th. I remember that one. And I also have somebody had emailed me about Lori had ordered some books from when she moved to Australia, or I guess that's how you say it, Australia. I don't know. But the prison that she moved to, or whatever, I guess it's a prison. Is it a prison or is it a jail? I don't know. So I can't speak confidently on that, or anything else for that matter right now. Anywho, but Australia, when she got to Arizona after she was extradited from Idaho to Arizona, she ordered some books from, you know, uh, I forget what they call it, not commissary, but anyways, and one of the books was from Paul Rand, Rand, which I looked that up, and I want to say that Chad Daybell published that book, and I was like, interesting. I didn't find that out all at one time, just kind of trickled, so I don't really have it right here. But and then there was another one, it was called Something in the Darkness, and I have it somewhere, but I have all these papers. Ah, that's not on top. But somebody had emailed me and asked me what the witchcraft book or that Lori ordered, and so I have it. I'll email it to you. You know who you are. And she also ordered Visions of Glory, because that's how Lori rolls. She rolls deep with that Visions of Glory. But today, and I'm going to go over the motions in Limine, of course, but then after that, I want to tickle your eyes and your ears with some Mike Stroud stuff that somebody, just like with Julie Rose, some good Latter-day Saints out there did like an expose in their terms. I mean, they didn't call it that, but they pointed out all the things that he was doing, and there is some really, really interesting literature. Let's just say that. And I've read that. I shouldn't have read it before I came on, because now that's on my mind, and it's alarming. It's alarming to me. It's like all the flags, all the bells and all the whistles are going off, and it's just, I mean, we're talking astral traveling, astral projecting. That's and in Mike Stroud's own words, which, I mean, I forgot about it, but it's like these times whenever I orbit around to these different people and their different shenanigans and all their jargon, and they just go on and on and on and on, and they speak in their language, which is not my language, not my first one, but it now is my second. Sometimes it's my first, it seems like, but it's Mormon speak. I call it, and I'm not being ugly or anything, but it's Mormonese, because their very own language. It's that, like Megan calls it, the inside talk. And if you don't really know what they're talking about, they sound like they're just talking about Jesus all the time. No, 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 my friends, we couldn't be further from the truth, or thy truth. So, anyways, so I just, if anybody wants to stick around for that, you are more than welcome to. I would love to have you. So I pulled up Justin Lum's Twitter X, and it says Lori Vallow Daybell, MCAO prosecutor, motions in limine to make sure anything Lori Vallow Daybell's daughter, Tylee Ryan, said about the shooting of Charles Vallow to be deemed as hearsay. Okay. And inadmissible in court. We know Tylee interviewed with Chandler PD and was Charles Vallow's what? Tylee interviewed with Chandler PD and was Charles Vallow's rental car when he was shot. That don't really make sense. I mean, they took off in his vehicle, but anyways, all right. So I didn't have these until not long ago, right before we went live. So this was filed. It was actually filed February 16th. Okay. Today is the 21st. And these were posted on Justin Lum's X page, Twitter X, whatever you want to call it, yesterday. Okay. So anywho, so yeah, filed February 16th, 2025. And it's from, and so I was a little caught off guard too, because I was like, what? And so whenever I learned that from whenever I went into KJ's live, she was live yesterday morning, I think. And I kind of caught the latter part of her live stream. And like, just, I have to like, process things. Like I'm not on demand. Like I have to sit there and like, oh, like for it to really, I don't want to say soak, for it to marinate. Okay. We'll use some Melanie Gibb terms, for it to really soak in, for me to absorb it. And, I didn't know what that meant, I didn't know who had filed what. And then I looked on the website yesterday, all until last night, and they still had not posted anything there. And I don't even know if they do. It's so different moving from the Idaho, court system, and just being so accustomed to that. And so Arizona was always kind of like secondary. And I'm not being ugly. It's just prioritizing, right? And they're both just as important. Both, all of them, all the crimes, all the victims are important. And so I'm not very familiar with the site or how it works. It's different. It's taken some getting used to. And sometimes it's a little overwhelming because, one of the ways that I've like controlled my little space, where I feel safe, secure, and not sucker punched every 2 seconds, because that's all this was in the beginning, was a huge sucker punch every 2 seconds. I felt like, I couldn't look up, and there was another wave of news, another appalling, deplorable thing, and it was horrible. And that's called trauma as well. And so it was just a very, very difficult time. However, I mean, I know that that has affected me. Anyways, let's see. So I looked on the website and, last night and everything, and I never did see anything. I just saw where it was filed by the state. So again, I took to my AI and kind of just figured out the strategy. Like, what does this mean for prosecution? What does this mean for the defense? Pros and cons, of both. So we'll go over there in just a second. So this says, in the Superior Court of the state of Arizona, in and from the county of Maricopa. And this is the case number CR 2021-001-704-001. And it's the state of Arizona. So this is the prosecution's motion it's a motion in limine regarding Tylee Ryan hearsay statements. And so, and it's assigned to the Honorable Justin Bareski, which we love him, right? He seems like he is going to be right, the right man for the job. And I feel for him. I feel for the rest of the court staff. I feel for the taxpayers at this point, even, I feel for all the people who Lori Daybell also clogs their space, I mean, geez, Louise, this is 6 years now. This is, we're over the hill, we're halfway, more than halfway to a decade now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, holy crap, the time flew. And then it didn't, it crawled as well. So the wheels of justice are slow. That's for sure. And Anyways, let me shush. All right. So it says motion. Okay, I already said all that. It says the state of Arizona through undersigned counsel hereby moves this court to preclude the defendant from attempting to admit any statements made by Tylee Ryan relating to the shooting of Charles Vallow, which I think that's the only statements we have, if I'm right. Well, besides Lori, Melanie Gibb, and Tylee showing up at the Gilbert police department whenever Charles went and snatched Lori's purse while she was dropping JJ off at school, anyways. So, and that's whenever Tylee, like, was calming her mother. Okay. So there's that part. It's just heartbreaking to watch that little girl. She was vibrant. She was coming into her own, but she was just, it's like that comparison or analogy to uh Tylee was an oak tree, but she was stunted by her mother who was like a bigger oak tree, and she was stealing all the nutrients and all the sunlight and all the things, throwing shade, and but then utilizing and using, in my opinion, her children, everybody. Tylee for sure was Lori's scapegoat. I mean, I didn't know much about narcissism and how that worked. For sure. It took me forever to even be able to say narcissist correctly, And I'm not the only person that had a problem with that too. It's just a weird word. And just learning about what the world looks like from a narcissist point of view is really eye-opening. When you realize that they're they utilize everybody as a pawn. It's like, what can I get? How does this reflect on me? How does this make me look? Everything was, how does it make Lori look? And I mean, that had to have been the most eggshell walking, or tiptoeing or on eggshells, the most cringy, uptight, uh, panic, just stress, chaos, like all those things. I just, oh my God, when you really think about how this had to have affected Colby, Tylee, JJ, Cole, Zach when they were there, you know. I mean, Uncle Charles, he was an adult. I don't do that, I'm not gonna sit here and I'm not gonna put these victims down. I'm not gonna pit them against each other, like Lori did to them in life, None of them deserved what they got. I feel more for the kids because they had no say so in this whatsoever. And, Charles was in his 60s, okay? He could have been like, and he tried. I get it. He was in love with her. I also get that too. Not shaming, it was impossible. It was never gonna work, because Lori had it in her mind what she wanted, who she wanted, how she wanted it, and how she was gonna get there and manipulate everybody and pit everybody against one another, depending on, how she needed them at the time. Other than that, discarded like a piece of trash. You are nothing once once you are discarded, and it's just so odd and difficult to come to terms with, because it's like not the person that was presented to me. She did not present that to me. She was engaging. She was like, she wanted to know what I was saying. Like she was hanging on to every word, and I mean, I just wasn't paying attention at the time. Just to be honest, there was nothing said or and overhearing anything. Nothing came to my attention. Nothing was like, "Oh, hey." And I went around her, I don't even think alone. Maybe while she was coloring my hair, but that was about it. You know? So, it's just crazy how this has inverted completely. Anyways, so it says Tylee Ryan was allegedly inside the residence prior to the shooting and later returned to 5531 South Four Peaks Drive in Chandler. with her mother, Lori N. Vallow, now known as Lori N. Daybell. Do we have to do all that? The defendant was inside Charles Vallow's rental car with the defendant for approximately an hour after the shooting and before the police were able to interview her. Tylee Ryan and Lori Vallow Daybell drove away from 5531 South Four Peaks Drive at 7:49 a.m. and returned to the house at 8:48 a.m. So 50 minutes, 50. The Chandler Police Department interacted with Tylee Ryan at the scene during the drive to the police station, and they interviewed her at the Chandler Police Department. And so it's presenting, I didn't have these papers because I don't ever think to look on X, okay? um, or I'd have looked up this rule. I might do it in a minute. Rule 801C, Arizona Rules of Evidence states C is hearsay. Hearsay means a statement that one, the declarant, how do you say that? Does not make while testifying at the current trial or hearing. And number two, a party offers an evidence to prove the truth of the matter asserted in the statement. Okay, I got to think about that. A party offers an evidence. Let me read it myself. Any statements by Tylee Ryan about the incident are out of court statements. Okay, so they're out of court statements. So, okay. That would be offered for the truth of the matter asserted. I remember Lindsay Blake bringing this up. She was like, John Pryor, whomever would be like, object, whatever, I object. And she was like, it's just for the truth of the matter. It's not trying to prove evidence or anything. Just trying to, she said that quite a bit. And so did Rachel. Anyways, it says, any statements made by Tylee Ryan to the defendant, so Lori, the Chandler Police Department, or any other person about the shooting of Charles Vallow on July 11, 2019, are hearsay and therefore inadmissible at trial. So, yesterday when I heard that, I was just like, what? Who filed what and why and when? And then so I'm trying to figure out how that's gonna work with the case, like, how okay, so who's gonna present, and, like, who else are they not gonna use? Because I thought there would be more of, like, Jason Mao, Gabe Bonilla, maybe testifying over in Idaho during Lori and Chad's different trials, so it's like, I don't know, I just try to picture it in my head, wrap my mind around that and kinda speculate on how that's gonna go down. So I'm just gonna read what Justin said here. Um, let's see. Oh, okay, alright. Okay, so Megan was going over this earlier. I might go over this Sunday. Let me go back to my tab. It totally ripped me out of there. Okay. Let me not do that. Told y'all I don't come over here much, okay? Let's see. Oh. Ah! Here's what Tylee said to detective about the fight between Charles and her uncle Alex Cox. Lori and her eventual husband Chad Daybell murdered Tylee 2 months after this interview in Idaho. Ooh, yeah. Too like, mm-mm. So I'm working on some, putting together some research that I've been working on for 6 years now. And I guess, I go over these kind of things, just the mistreatment, these inverted beliefs, these inverted, unnecessary inflictions of pain upon children by people like not Julie, well, her too, I'm sure, allegedly. Lori Vallow Daybell and Ruby Frankie, Jodi Hilderbrandt, David Hamblin, my crew, Tim Ballard, my LDS Church of Satan crew, and it is so freaking alarming because the main theme in this whole thing The reason we are here today, one of the reasons we're here today, is because of what happened to Tylee and JJ for sure. Um, it was all unnecessary, but the infliction of pain, and I mean, this is also ringing true. I listened to Gumshoe Graham. I went back, her videos have been playing again because I found her in my algorithm again. I don't know how she's doing. I hope she's doing okay, but she kind of just dropped off. She was really dedicated to seeking justice for Charles and Brandon for sure, and the kids. So, but she read over Stacy's or the court filings from Melanie Pulowski's dad, Stephen Wallentine Cope. The statements that were made a long time ago, whenever Melanie Boudreaux Pulowski was a little girl, and how it flooded my mind with so many things. I'm like, oh, that. It's like now that I've learned the context of and more into the Hamblin case and the whole this inverted Church of Satan. I'm sorry, LDS Church of Satan. Don't come at me, Church of Satan. Um, as I've learned more about their beliefs and how, the different ways that the Hamblin daughters have reported in their victim statements, that they reported to police that were, they were just released back in 2022, and they reported that back in 1991, and they're still trying to get it to the damn court. Right? Yeah, going through that right now as we speak. So it's nuts. But just it's some really hard stuff to read. I'm just like, "Oh my god," like, this is just some really egregious, hard to hear, hard to read, hard to stomach and imagine these different accounts of abuse that these LDS Mormon kids are enduring, and it all matches, and it all aligns, and it's all the same thing that we are witnessing, or that we witnessed in 2019, and that we are reporting on today. This is why we are here. And so it's just repeating, in my opinion, because it's never been dealt with from the get-go, from Glenn Pace memo on, and actually before that, because yeah. And I mean, I'm tracing those links back right now, like just trying to figure out what happened at this time, what happened, what came first, a timeline of sorts. Thank you, little brands. Lurking while working. Hi, all. Please like. Thank you. I appreciate that. You're so sweet. You are. I don't care what your husband says about you. Just kidding. So, what do y'all think about the motion in Limine? What do y'all think? I mean, I've had time to think about it, so it's like I understand, because I'm like, what the hell? What are they going to use? And, just all the questions. And if y'all have any questions, let me know, and I will stick them in my little Gemini AI. Okay. Thank you, Jennifer. Let me go over there so I can pin it. Thank you. I appreciate you very much. Thank you. You don't want me singing. Okay. Gemini AI, right? Look, I have my Canva AI, but that sucker is like, "Oh, that's too sensitive." Oh, and I'm like, "I talk about nothing but sensitive things, AI." So, this ain't working. This relationship is not working. So, I had to jump over to a different one that's free, but it's not all, butthurt. It doesn't get butthurt with all my questions and stuff, and I don't like to utilize it too much, but hey, here we are. Alright. Hold on. I can't type into, or I kinda can, but I can't. Okay. What does it mean for the case? Let's try that. Allegedly. What y'all doing this Friday? All right, sharing this tab. Let me make sure. Nope, I knew it. Thank you so much again. Thank you again, KJ and Fancy Nancy and Little Brands and Jennifer Sukup, or is it Sukup, or how do you say that? Okay, this says, I'm just using my AI. I'm not a professional, not an expert. All right, Lori Daybell has filed several handwritten motions. What? This is okay. In her Arizona case, where she is charged with murdering her fourth husband. See, this one's gangster. It's like murdering. Next thing you know, they'll be saying unaliving, right? Like, yeah, Stephen Stearns, he don't want the M word in his trial. I'm like, what? Oh my god, you sound like Gypsy Rose and how she don't identify with that. I'm like, okay, well, your prison sentence said otherwise. Mm-mm-mm. These kids these days, man. All right. And so it says Lori Daybell has filed several handwritten motions in her Arizona case where she is charged with murdering her fourth husband and conspiring to kill her niece's ex-husband. Well, now ex-husband, One of these motions is a motion to limine. And so a motion in limine is a request to a judge to exclude certain evidence from being presented at trial. In this case, it is not clear what specific evidence Lori Daybell is seeking to exclude. She's not. Okay, so let's fix that. Prosecution. Let's do that. I'm not a fast typer. I used to be, but not anymore. No, whatever. Okay. It appears you're interested in the legal proceedings surrounding Lori Daybell. Here's a breakdown of what a motion in limine means, especially in the context of a prosecution filing one. Motion in limine and what it means. The purpose of a motion in limine is a request made before a trial starts. So this is about the right time, right? I would think. I remember this word before in the other trials. I just don't remember exactly what for. It asks the it asks the judge to decide whether certain evidence can be used in the trial. And so it says why it matters. Evidence can be very powerful in court. A motion in limine is a way for one side, either the prosecution or the defense, to try and keep certain evidence out of the trial if they believe it would unfairly prejudice the jury against their case. So I wonder how that's going to look, like, so what if a witness mentions something about Tylee, then, what is that going to look like? Like, what do they say? Strike or whatever? I don't even know. I object, like, I don't understand what that even looks like. So anybody have any ideas? Hey, Angela. I'd love to have 5 minutes with Stephen Stearns. I'd say Florida a lot of money. And we'd be like, "Fight," No. But we would. Hey, Rad Joel, how are you? Happy Friday to you too. Um, Fire and police unions can't negotiate benefits as well in Utah. Utah has never been a union-friendly state. They want slaves, not workers, according to Ravina and friends. Right? Anyways, I'm trying to be. I'm never gonna be. I know I'm biased. I know I am. Angela says, I was surprised. Anything that sounds like the victim's voices or silence is not okay with me. I don't have a degree in law, so I'm learning along this journey. Same. And I feel the same way too. And I mean, I understand. I do. That was the first thing I thought of. I was just like, what? You know? But it also seems like the state has in mind. I mean, I don't think this would be detrimental, if it's denied. I mean, think about that. I know that I don't a lot of us maybe feel like there's not a lot of evidence, you know? But let me go look that up because I wanna clarify that too. I want to see if oh Lord, let's see. Lori, yeah, no. Okay, that is Superior Court. Superior. Don't look like I'm spelling it right. Superior Court. There it is. Okay. Ha. Let's see. Whoop. Okay. I'm like, who the hell is that? Oh, what? Oh, it pulled up Zalema. Zalema's 4/16/1996, dangerous drug possession use. All right. Guilty as charged. Pled guilty. She don't do that anymore. And and also in one of Lori's hearings, I don't remember which one it was. It was one of the recent ones. Maybe the first time that she like spoke and was, being her own lawyer. I caught something at the very end of it where she was they were talking about um immunity agreements. Did they get the immunity agreements from Idaho? Actually, it was her attorney, the man. So it was before all that. I don't know what to do now. Let me see. I have Justin Lum's page pulled up. Hold on. Because I'm going to share the very last end of that with you, last part of that. But they're all like, all these titles say the same thing, basically. Okay, Lori can represent herself. Okay. I'm trying to think. Let's see. I'll share my tab so you can at least see what I'm doing. Competent. Maybe it was this one. I'm gonna click it. Well, what's this one? Lori Daybell also. I'll push it too. It could be just a short clip. I hate ads.
When conditions get extreme.
Anyway, so I don't know. I just want to get y'all's take on it. Again, I'm not the know all be all. So it's just something I picked up on, and maybe Megan's covered it, but so many things happen in between there and here.
So-called doomsday mom
Yeah, it's
is
not this
ready
one.
to move forward with her murder conspiracy case here in Arizona.
Today, the woman convicted in Idaho for murdering her children was deemed mentally fit to stand trial here in the Valley. Fox 10 investigator Justin Lum was at the hearing today and joins us live.
John, Christina, Lori Vallow came out of this hearing in a seemingly good or satisfied mood, at times smiling and laughing in the courtroom. She's now out of the Rule 11 process, but the big question is if she will be able to represent herself in trial. Now, in what appears to be her last Rule 11 hearing, the judge confirmed that both court-appointed doctors evaluated Vallow and she's been deemed mentally fit to stand trial. This evaluation process began in late October, and it's been more than a year since Vallow was extradited from Idaho to Arizona on charges of conspiracy to commit murder. The former Chandler resident is accused of conspiring in the fatal shooting of her fourth husband, Charles Vallow, and the attempted murder of her niece's ex-husband, Brandon Boudreaux. Both shootings happened within months of each other in 2019. Vallow was serving life in prison for the murders of her two children, JJ and Tylee, and her role in the death of Tylee Daybell, the first wife of Vallow's husband, Chad Daybell, who was sentenced to death after being found guilty in the same case.
On the written reports here by Dr. McGady, dated November 7th, 2024. Dr. Webster, dated December 2nd, 2024. Stipulation having been accepted, the reports having been considered, the court finds the defendant understands the proceedings, is able to assist counsel in her defense. The court further finds the defendant competent pursuant to statute. It is ordered affirming prior release conditions, and we'll get you a new date in front of Judge Boreski so you can proceed in your case.
So tomorrow morning, a status conference will be held in front of that judge presiding over the criminal case. We may find out if the vacated February 2025 trial is back on schedule.
I'm just letting this play
and what
out.
the judge thinks about Vallow possibly representing herself. To watch today's full hearing, head to fox10phoenix.com or our YouTube channel. I'm Fox 10 investigator Justin Lum.
Thanks, Justin. Off to Krisha, who's never on time. Okay. Stop. It's going to, they always.
Coming up only on Fox 10 News at 6.
They do this, y'all.
Breaking stories, the latest sports,
the
most accurate weather.
I'll close the damn tab out, me. Okay, I pulled the other one up, but I couldn't get to that button in time to close it down. So it was slipped right from my hand. Okay, so it's right here. And
at this time, I'm going to affirm the final trial management.
Okay, so we're just going to back it up a little bit. So it'll be at the very end. Just I'll catch it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And Colby had asked, why do they always point at her feet? And I'm like, they've done it since the very first hearing in Hawaii. Her toenails were painted blue. She still had, sun-kissed skin, and her hair curls were very pretty and wavy, and she had blonde hair, not so much brown or dark brown or red even. So they do this, and it's also good. We get to see how, if she's nervous, we get to see the chains, okay, that represent the I'll call it a cult that she belongs to, the secret society cult that she belongs to. That is representative and symbolism for Lori's Lord. Used to be some white socks, but anyways, I didn't back it up just for that.
So the
Anyways,
record will
it was
reflect
awkward.
that the state's getting a copy of those two motions today, and then the state will respond accordingly.
Oh,
just set a
quickly, one thing that I do want to do whenever I am in court at her trial, I want to be like, Lori, do this. Just, you can't do this, lady, because you got to do like this, because your hands are bound together like you did your sons, and then limb for limb for your daughter. It's just nasty. She's nasty.
just set a
So this was old, so don't think it's new.
I'll have you reply within 10 days of the date of the filing of their response. All right. Depending on and then I'll rule on the motions as they come, or I'll set a hearing if need be. But at this time, I'm going to affirm the final trial management conference of March 18 at 8:30 a.m. in this division.
Mark your calendar.
Trial date's currently March 31. Again, the first case that would be heading to trial would be the 2021 case. Anything else for today?
Yes. Will trial be staying before your honor? And if so, will we be staying in this courtroom?
I don't know yet. I'm going to confer with the associate presiding judge, and I suspect it will stay here and it will stay in this courtroom, although for jury selection, we may move to a bigger courtroom if we're doing in-person voir dire.
And Judge, I do know there will likely be the next of kin present. This courtroom obviously does not have a victim room or a witness room. With the media, that obviously makes it more difficult for the state to keep those individuals away from each other, from overhearing each other in this type of case. So obviously we're happy to stay before.
Is that like a cry room?
Would be requesting that this be reset or moved to the South Court Tower, so we would have those accommodations.
I'll talk to the criminal presiding judge and the associate presiding judge regarding that. And it's just a matter of availability of bigger courtrooms. Anything else from the defendant?
I just was going to ask, can we set both trial dates, or how are we going to do that?
You'll have two separate jury trials with two separate juries.
Correct.
So the first trial that will go will be on or around March 31st. We anticipate when that trial's done, we'll talk about how quickly we're going to do the second trial. Does that answer your question?
Somewhat, yes.
Okay. It's hard to set the second one without knowing how long the first one's going to take, and then the readiness of everyone as far as the second one after the first one concludes. All right, we will be at recess on that matter. I'll take any motions under advisement.
Did she say something, or did I miss it? Because it was before this.
We're going to do the second.
It was the little
to the South Court Tower, so we would have those accommodations.
her.
I'll talk to the criminal presiding judge and the associate presiding judge regarding that.
I'm sorry,
And
y'all.
it's just a matter of availability of bigger courtrooms. Anything else from the defendant?
I just was going to ask, can we set both trial dates?
No, he said no. All right, just listen to this while I go pull it up.
Or how are we going to do that?
God dang it, I might have to give up.
You'll have two separate jury trials with two separate juries.
Correct.
So the first trial that will go will be on or around March 31st. We anticipate when that trial's done, we'll talk about how quickly we're going to do the second trial. Does that answer your question?
Somewhat.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. It's hard to set the second one without knowing how long the first one's going to take and then the readiness of everyone as far as the second one after the first one concludes. All right, we will be at recess on that matter. I'll take any motions under advisement.
Nope. That's not it either. All right, just hang tight. Okay, let me try this one. It was one of the more recent ones. Just hang tight. Thank y'all. Gotta wait for an ad to play. It would be the one where I want to say Janice and Summer showed up. That one. Let me go over there before something else jumps on the damn screen. Okay. All right. I pulled this one up. Nope, this is another damn news story. It's not so easy.
So Vallow was accused of conspiring to kill her fourth husband, Charles
And will it-
Vallow, in an attempted murder of her niece's ex-husband, Brandon Bordeaux. So she is serving a life
Bordeaux.
sentence currently in Idaho for the murders of her two children and her husband's first wife. Vallow was recently deemed competent to stand trial here in Arizona after questions were raised by her former attorney. So her trial is scheduled to begin in March.
God dang, these are so fast. I don't have time. Let's see. I'm not a very fast.
When conditions get extreme, you're watching Fox 10 Expected. When you need it most, the Fox 10 Weather Experts app
Okay.
is there to keep
What is
you
my-
informed and safe. With interactive radar, 7-day forecast, and hourly conditions.
Oh, I don't see
Download it
anything.
today.
Did y'all hear something playing? It was like an ad or whatever. Anyways, I don't know where it was coming from. I don't see a little speaker. I'm so sorry. This sucks. All right. I'm still looking. Anyways, it was just interesting because it was something about the getting the immunity agreement, whatever. It was from Idaho. And I'm thinking, huh? Is that Zalema? Is Melanie Gibb included in, what I wish I knew. I wish I knew what, like who has immunity, use immunity, what have you. You know what I'm saying? I also wish we could get into the damn Seven Gatherers email, Gmail, because they were communicating it up and casting away and all kinds of stuff. So I apologize. I mean, I didn't, unless it just strikes me. Not literally, please. Let's see, videos. Looking. Yeah, it's so much easier because it tells you how long the video is here, Maybe this one a month ago. Damn East Idaho News. I'm going to scooch to the end because it was around. Nope, that's the two separate trials.
You'll have two separate jury trials with two separate juries.
Correct.
So the first trial that will be on or around March 31st, we anticipate.
Okay, I'm scooching out. So it'll be before or after. It was, I want to say the man, her attorney that she fired. So let's, no. What? Judge rules. Is this when Chad or whatever?
All right,
Y'all
we're back on
remember
the record.
Oh, I went off this day. It was about Chad, like the way it was charged or whatever for JJ's murder.
Which is
or something. Anyways, I'm not gonna make y'all watch that, but still, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. I was livid. That was so infuriating. Was it this one? The rights are being violated? Not Courtroom Insider, but whatever. That's a month ago. No, that's 46 seconds. It looks like the same one we just had. I'm about to give it up. Actually, I'm going to scooch to the very end. Let's see.
State's insisting that she's not competent?
I don't know. I guess you're going to have to wait to see what the next. It should still work, and if she is deemed competent and the parties stipulate to competency, you can contact my judicial assistant and we can set it in short order on this calendar.
And just, is the state, just so we're clear, is the state going to be willing at that point then to agree to that she's competent? We're just assuming that the state will stipulate to that. I
don't know.
Give me something to hold on to.
I guess it depends on what the report says.
No,
I mean, I agree with you that sometimes the state does stipulate on one report, but there's not a requirement that they have to, so I can't force that stipulation. But I guess we'll see what happens on the next report.
I think the absurd end result here is if the state doesn't want to stipulate, then we're going to have a hearing where the defense is basically saying she's competent, and then the state's insisting that she's not competent.
I don't know. I guess you're going to have to wait to see what the next report says.
Oh, your water bottle.
All right. Anything from the state?
Okay, it's not in this one.
We'll be recessed on this.
Not in this one because I just looked in the transcript. My bad. All right, y'all, I'm giving up. And it's just not worth it, I guess. So, oh my gosh, Warwickery. Becky, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I really do. Y'all, I came back to that and just it's overwhelming. Thank you. And like Jennifer says, woohoo! Thank you. I mean, God, it's like, it makes things a little bit lighter, you know? Okay. So I don't really have a plan, you know, because I wasn't really planning on going live until Sunday. I always write notes all the time. I have January 31st, 2019, police body cam. Charles alerted law enforcement that Lori's threats to kill him were physical and not spiritual, as the officer referenced. Oh, this is just my list. Okay, I see. Let's see. Let's see. We have Lori. So with Lori's police interview, we see that she's very vague with her, you know, with her interview, the whole thing with the Chandler police detective, the woman, Yinclan, I think her name is. She was just real. It's that whole omission thing that tends to go on. And I know because they have a whole thing called lying for the Lord. It is very interesting to see how far back this goes. And I mean, all the way back to whenever Joseph Smith was practicing allegedly polygamy, and, you know, people were having to lie because they were not supposed to, it was illegal. Okay. By the government to practice polygamy. And so, and in fact, they had to, I would say, because I think they still practice it. And I think that's why we are here today. I think that Chad and Lori were united in on some plan of hell. I don't know. And that is why we're here today. Part of the reason. The other part is because they are dark. Because they are dark. Okay. It's the nicest thing I have to say right now. But she's very vague, very, you know, she'll say, it's just all the things, you know, it's just all the things that he emails me. He threatens me. You know, you'd have to look in my phone. You'd have to look at my email. She does that with Melanie Gibb too. She says that, well, you saw it on my computer. And she was like, I didn't see nothing on your computer. Anyways, the threats that my mom was supposedly making towards Lori, right? Who's getting shot and who's getting murdered over here? Okay, that's 1, 2, 3 members of our family on the. You know what I'm saying? Like 0 on the Cox side. Well, besides Alex, and I mean that really could have been natural causes, y'all. I mean, if we are to believe that he was murdered and or unalived himself, then I mean maybe we're all conspiracy theorists then. You know, I don't really know. So, but yeah, not so much over there. They were getting rated, you know, the Cox family, some of them were getting rated dark. Definitely not Janice, definitely not Summer. Um, you know, to me, again, I'm gonna make it be known. I'm not gonna sit here and hold on to my feelings, but it was so telling that Janice and Summer did not show up to any other proceeding unless they did it in spirit. Okay. They did not show up to any other hearing, nothing to do with the children, nothing to do to look for the children. Instead, they were pointing fingers and saying that my mom this, my mom that, Charles this, Charles that, still has, they've never, in my opinion, said anything nice about my uncle. I think, and this is my opinion, sue me if you want to, whatever, I'm entitled to have it. But I think that Summer and Janice were on board and okay with the plan. And that was to kill my uncle. And maybe Lori just really liked it. I don't know. I'm just speculating here. And maybe she didn't really expect for Tylee and JJ to be murdered. Or maybe she was just mad because she didn't get invited. I really don't know. I'm sorry. You know, it's just, why would they show up now? Didn't show up for allocution, either trial, you know, Chad nor Lori. Instead sent letters to the judge, you know, that'll go with Lori every time she, well, no, she don't have parole, so no on that, I guess, right? And then just, I don't know, that snide comment that I found the other day, it just burns my ass. It really does, because it's like, that's that passive aggressive shit that, you know, if you're not really listening for it, I mean, a lot of us have read the FOIA docs. We've read these statements. We've gone over them. I've read them out loud on live streams, but never did I catch that part where Janice is being really smug, but without being, you know, they're doing it with a smile on their face and saying, I love you. I love you so much. And that is the shit I'm talking about. That surface deep, everything is skin deep. It's nothing, uh, nothing below that. Nothing, I don't even know the word. Nothing meaningful, nothing to explain or describe or express any kind of genuineness. There's nothing there. It's just all, you know, everything's fine. We're fine. Everything's fine. We're fine. And it's very frustrating to deal with people who are, it reminds me of my stepmother. I have, well, my stepdad, or my dad died. So I just don't even go there. But I had a stepmom that was yeah, she was dark. And she would do things so covertly and just behind our backs. I remember I moved in with he was my stepdad, but he raised me from the time I was 18 months old. So when my parents split up, I mean, that was my dad, you know, in my eyes, my heart. So I moved in with them. I was like 15 maybe. And I mean, I was always there anyways. So it's not like I was brand new to the situation. And me and my stepsister, we shared a room, and I don't know. I did not, as a 15-year-old, no, I didn't like place pictures of my mom out, you know, like I don't know. I just kept them in my closet in a box. And I went later on, I don't know how much time passed, but I went and looked at my pictures in the box, and it looked like somebody took a key or something and just on my mom's pictures. And I was just like, oh my God, that was one of the things. It's just very sneaky. My mom would also, whenever my brother lived there, my mom would send, like money, cards and stuff. Okay. And so our stepmom was like stealing the money out of them, and just, anyways, it's so crazy. Okay. Just that conniving, it is just the most evil thing ever. You just, they smile at you, but then they're like pinching you, every chance they get. And she loved to get me in trouble. Not that I needed any help. I was just like I am now, just dingy, laughing, ha ha ha, and being silly. But like one morning I got up for school, I went to curl my hair, and put my curling iron down. And it, wasn't on the carpet or anything. I'm just letting you know that. But I put it down, and whenever I got up, I stepped on it, and I was like, "Oh my it hurt." Okay, it's freaking pain. And she didn't come in and check on me. Nothing. I didn't expect her to. That would even cross my mind. But I got in trouble. I got punished whenever I got home from school because I woke her up. It was like that. And this is the same vibe that I am getting off of these people. So, I mean, that's, it wasn't like that always. I was like, okay, there's, Lori and Alex just went off the chain, and they're just like wigging out, and here we are, it's got to be kind of crazy having two unalivers in your family. I mean, that's got to be difficult. I haven't even tried to wrap my head around that, because it's not my situation. But it's like, I get the same thing from Summer. It's just to your face, it's one thing. Behind your back, it's like stabbing you. And I mean, I'm just saying, hopefully I'm wrong, but I'm not really going to stick around and find out, because I'm not dumb. And I don't want to waste my time. I can't stand fake people. Cannot. Say what you mean and mean what you say. That is my mantra. Okay. I'm always like that. Just say what you mean. Nobody's asking you to volunteer anything that you don't mean. Okay. So if you don't mean it, shut the hell up. So easy. It is a very, very simple concept. People complicate things. The world's not complicated, Shit. Anyways, I'm sorry. How is an adult jealous like that of children? Who, Lori, Alex, or Summer? Anyways, I have my ideas. I really do. I don't know. I don't know. Or like my stepmom. I don't know. So what my mom did, and anyway, so we learned that she was taking the money out of, cards and stuff that my mom was sending to my brother. So we started putting glitter or something that you couldn't pick up, easily. You'd have to vacuum it. It's gonna glitter. It's there, it stays there. So yeah, you just have to beat them at their own bullshit, basically. And that's really sad. It really is. I mean, it's not that, my home was broken anyways. My parents were split up, and I mean, again, this was my stepdad. So it's like, I don't know. It was a tough time. I didn't realize all that either until this case. Through this case and learning about Lori, learning about the dynamics of narcissism and abandonment, child neglect, those kind of things. I don't know, I can really relate with Colby in a lot of ways lately. I'm just like, oh right, yeah. And I mean, it's not, it's not to, it's like not to call my parents out or anything. It's just to acknowledge that and know that that wasn't the way it was supposed to be. Or, because it's like these generational things that you carry on to your children, and then your children carry those on to their children, and the cycle is never broken because people think that they're fine, everything's fine, and everything's not fine. It's okay. And it's okay. Trust fall, or just self-soothe. I mean, there's a lot of things that I remember doing um as an only child when I was growing up, and I didn't have my brother yet. So I did self-soothe. I did basically put band-aids on my own bobos, so to speak. I entertained myself. I um have a very active imagination, because I had to. And it is what it is. It's just like, it's okay with that. I mean, it's not okay that it happened, but it's okay for that to, I don't know. I don't go to counseling, so I don't know all the terminology. So I'm just, speaking off the layman's terms for sure. But I mean, do any of you guys, I mean, have you experienced this? And especially reading like the Hamlin case, and I'm just like, oh, please, Lord, don't let me have some old repressed memory that comes back, and I'm just like, that's got to be terrible. I feel for those people. I do. I mean, because I'm just like, I can kind of relate to some things, but not the. It's just horrible what these children have gone through and have had to live through and have been silenced through and aren't believed through. It never ends. That once these perps do what they do and they infiltrate a child's innocence, they shatter that. They shatter that child's innocence. It is stolen in that moment. They murder their soul, basically. They steal it. It's gone. And then you go through all kinds of things through, feelings, shame, not even knowing if it's right or wrong. You don't know. You don't have the tools. You're not equipped with that because you're a child. You're learning your ABCs and your 1, 2, 3s and your colors. You're not at all equipped to notify anybody. You don't know if it's right or wrong because I don't know. I'm just saying these things are very weird and very painful. And, I feel like mine wasn't so bad, And so the least I can do is put in the work, put in the time, and read these people's stories. Help them get their cases to the damn court since 1991. Come on now, y'all. This is like going on 3 decades. Holy crap, And I mean, these girls, the Hamlin girls, they have tried, and it's just a network of people who are practicing the dark arts. They belong to the LDS Church of Satan. It's like a daytime person and a nighttime person. And so I imagine, and I've heard it structured this way, that it's like a daytime kid and a nighttime kid. And so I'm still trying to wrap my mind around some of these really, I say outlandish, crazy stories, but crazy, y'all. After Lori and Chad and this whole situation, this whole case, this whole thing, the crazy is what I believe. Because it's like, oh, you wouldn't believe it because it's so crazy. There's zombies. There's all, oh my God. It's so much and it's so freaking out there that you feel crazy. I feel crazy. Charles felt crazy. And my God. And these are just 2 of, I don't know, what did Bishop Glenn Pay say? 800 practicing Satanists, guesstimate, back in 1990. So, and then it was never dealt with. And here we are. We have Bonnie Holing. We have, I mean, there's other, I don't really know. I've got too many in my head already. So, anyways, but Let's see what this note says. It says Melanie Gibb on phone with Sherry Dowdle saying how his death was a setup. Charles's. What the hell? My phone's vibrating and I have stuff on top of it. And it says Lori told Lawrence Life Academy JJ's dad, Charles, died of suicide. That's what's going to catch her. Or her lies. She told Life Academy that JJ's dad died of suicide. She told Colby heart attack, and then her and Al, showed the boo-boo on Al's head. And she lied there. She half-assed told Cole and Zach via text message and then never would follow up. Her side piece, Chad DeBall, was calling and inserting his fucking ass in this case in my family's. He was in charge of their remains. That's what he did. Chad Daybell had his hand in every one of these murdered victims' the final send-off, I guess, burying them in shallow graves. Chad Daybell, I don't know if that's part of his little mission or what, but think about that. So Lori's side piece is calling and making arrangements for my uncle's remains, pretending to be somebody else, and he sounds stupid. He likes to giggle like a little schoolgirl, and it was killing him that he couldn't really laugh out loud, but he was laughing on the inside. I can just picture it straight up, because this is the type of sadistic people that we are dealing with. These are the people that they're reproducing and they think this is normal. And that is terrifying. That is so terrifying to me. That's what I was worried about from jump. I'm like, what about the rest of them? Anyways, it says, didn't tell JJ till August, like the last day that JJ was, before they moved, and she pulled him out of Life Academy, sold his dog. She tried selling his dog. My bad. She would have if the trainer would not have ran across the ad. Seeing that I hope he testifies. Just a chisel at her ass, I love when truth, like I'm not better than anybody else. Okay. I'm just saying, I love when the truth or their own words come back and just pow, it's beautiful. Okay, JJ. So the teacher said that JJ saying, my dad's not dead. My dad's not in heaven. He's just traveling. Very upset and distraught. Oh, so this reminded me of when my parents told me they were getting a divorce. That morning I was getting ready for school, and then they were like, okay. And I had to go to school. So I'm like, did Lori tell him and then drop him off at school? Anyways. Like I said, these things make me revisit my own upbringing. Melanie Gibb testimonies from both trials. Look for okay. That's just my notes. Then we have Brandon Boudreaux, the storage unit, Nate Eaton documenting the alleged conspiracy. Tammy Daybell shot at on October 9, 2019. Tammy murdered successfully October 19th. I'm just reading it. So I've been pulling some things together, like ritual killings, proof, I guess. I don't know. JJ, white plastic underneath the larger black plastic bag. Sorry, this trigger warning. It's talking about dead people that were murdered. So I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be insensitive. Just trying to get through it. So there was JJ was like in a larger, like a contractor type bag that was black, and then it had duct tape, every so often on it. But then when they pulled that off and the outer duct tape, they found a white kitchen bag, like with a waffle cone or whatever. And then under, which is interesting, Jason brought this up. This is why I'm bringing it up right now. Jason was like, okay, he was like, how did JJ die of asphyxiation by plastic bag over the head if he had duct tape on his mouth and nose? And I was like, because it's so hard to even think about these things or talk about these things, but you just kind of like, it's not giving either. I told you I tried doing it to be skinny one time. I wasn't fat then, but oh, I won't try that ever again because duct tape does not breathe. So you heard it here first. Don't ever do it. This is a warning. Don't do that stuff. Okay. I was just like, oh, okay. Just being silly. I was a teenager and obviously unsupervised. So, and then I put, Thai fire pit, found massive human remains, burnt flesh, charred bone. And then, let's see, and I watch shows, and so I had change all the time. Then the recorded call between Gibb, Daybell, and Vallow. Oh, that's the Jesus one. Okay. Then I'm like, Jesse's a boater. Oh, I found this interesting. Again, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I just seek out and I'm like, oh, wow, that sounds really familiar with what this scene looks like over here. I ain't Lori. I didn't just say scene like she did. I'm just saying the scene where Tylee's remains were, I'm like, ash, they were burning. You know what I'm saying? They did what they did. And I'm just trying to prove the point that this is ritual killings, ritual abuse. DJ Norman done figured out the dates to every one of these murders, forwards, backwards, every which way that imaginable. I mean, Stacy, we're talking the whole family on all sides, and I still don't understand it. I'm not good with numbers, but I understood how he's explained it, and I'm just like, whoa, that's crazy. I mean, some people just want to live in denial. And I mean, this is reality. These kids were burned, dismembered, or, Tylee was burned, dismembered. Her skeletal remains were not all intact. They were not there in the same spot. I still would love to see I wouldn't love to see it, but where's the crime scene? That happened at Lori's apartment? Where? Was there a lot of plastic laid down? Like what? Make it make sense, y'all. Make it make sense. Okay. And so Jesse's a voter talked about talking about how they use art galleries, which where is it? I have that one where we had JJ and Tylee's memorial service. That's the weird thing I'm telling y'all about. I'm like, oh Lord, anyways, these people are interesting. That's for sure. Okay. So she says that, the Schluminati use art galleries, art shows by putting parts, dust, ashes in the actual paintings / artwork. And when purchased, the buyer / owner feels, empowered by the spirits, I guess. And so I'm just like, that kind of tracks. You know who else I stumbled upon when I was looking up Bishop Glenn Pace's? I was just looking up more info on him, which it's interesting how the church does not cover at all the Glenn Pace memo. Yeah, you don't see that on none of their stuff. He was a general authority, and then he went to emeritus status before dying. And he was, so while I was looking for actually I ran across his obituary and I landed on Russin funeral services. I was like, So we have Meldrum, who owns a crematorium family, Levitt that owns crematoriums and funeral homes. We have Russin. Okay. There's another one too. I just can't. Oh, and then Joe Binion, another alleged Church of Punisher, LDS Church of Satan Punisher. He allegedly owns kilns, KILN. I mean, it's just like, what? How can who's the other one though? So I'm wondering, my cousin Cole, I remember he made a comment. It was reported somewhere, maybe with East Idaho News. I don't remember. But he said something about whenever they first were trying to find out what happened to their dad. What happened to their dad, Lori? And he finally like, what the F happened? Because she never would respond. That's that bit of sadistic torture, okay, that they must inflict on children. And it's really disgusting. And so left them hanging like that. That's a special evil all in itself right there. But so Cole said somewhere that whenever they called Valley of the Sun, which is where Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow, decided that my uncle's remains would go to, or his body, to be what didn't she say to didn't Lori say to sometimes I have it and sometimes I don't. Something about Charles wanted to be cremated, she said this to Colby recently because she was talking about what to do with Charles's body after he was shot. And that's when she allegedly Tylee overheard the conversation, and Tylee let it be known, according to Lori, that she too wanted to be cremated. And then that's the excuse that Lori tells her son, Colby, as to, he's like asking questions about Tylee and JJ, and the really difficult part, which it does this, okay? It really does. It blows your mind. And it's sometimes way too much sometimes I'll listen to something, I'll see something, especially in the beginning of all this, and I just will not catch it. It's like your brain does like some kind of protective mode, which is awesome if it does. I feel like it does. And it just kind of helps you get through those really difficult moments, difficult times in your life. And yeah, I mean, but it also causes damage to the brain, and I don't know, I'm not an expert, y'all know that, but I heard that it causes like early dementia and Alzheimer's and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, well, that kind of feels like I'm heading that direction. But anyway, so, but yeah, so Cole and them said something about Valley of the Sun and how they seemed scared is what I'm trying to get at. The people that answered the phones or whatever at the funeral home, when they're just trying to track their dad down and find out what happened. And so that's interesting, right? Not to yeah. Not to mention, the other day I forgot to tell y'all this, and I've told y'all before, but our friend Sue Ellen here, she lives in I'll be staying there whenever I go to Lori's trial. So she lives in Phoenix, but I was talking to her neighbor's aunt one day, like her good friend and her neighbor's, I want to say it's her aunt. She was talking to her. It was during Chad's trial, and I'm not going to get it right, but she was like talking to the lady, the older lady. She was almost 90 or in her 90s. And so the lady was like, "Oh, what are you doing today?" And she was like, "Oh, I'm watching the Chad Daybell trial." And she was like, "Jack Daybell? The one, oh my God, I'm gonna forget. The one that used to dig graves? Oh my God. Hello. Jack Daybell digging graves." And that blew my mind, I was just like, what? So you're telling me that I mean, if true, I don't know. I mean, again, this is just word of mouth. Hearsay. This is a hearsay statement. This is an example of one. So that would mean that if true, Jack Daybell and then Chad Daybell, and then remember the brothers were grave diggers too over the summers and stuff. I find that really, really, really telling, especially in this SRA kind of field, because there's a lot of nefarious things that go on in graveyards. Anyways, I know I'm going way off track. It says so much shame. There's so much guilt and shame behind the demons pushing them. Some go ahead and embrace the evil deeds. Some black out because they're fighting this so hard. What? So they black out. The demon takes over. Wake up to horrific things, memories, photographs, etc., to find out that the victim did horrible things. And then I'm like, question, why does Barry Cox think he and his family are in the top 5%? And everyone else is the lower 95. So you, me, and everybody in between is 90. We're lower. We're lower class. Okay. Jack Daybell is Chad Daybell's dad. But that's when I found out that Meldrum Crematorium, so Rod Meldrum is the guy whose nonprofit organization where Tim Ballard would go speak at, where Chad Daybell would go speak at, where all these little hoodlums would go speak at, like Mike and Nancy James, preparing people. They're a clique, and they do like this, and so, and they puff each other up. Okay, think of Jodi Hildebrand, like all these people. I'm just connecting them, I'm like slowly. I'm infiltrating their asses. Finally, I see you, watching me. And so I just, yeah, I really do the way, reading Ruby's journals again. And I'm just like knowing what I know now, especially learning more about and retaining more from the Hamblin case. It is freaking, I'm like, yep, yep, yep. And I mean, I don't just read the Hamblin case. I've read other cases like from President Nelson's daughter, Brenda Miles, and her husband Dick Miles, who were accused of having touch parties and stuff back in the 80s, and they deny that this is true, so it's alleged. And what else? Another thing that's interesting is, could it be that those in the Brotherhood use their alter egos, like names, nicknames, etc.? Alex was Ray, allegedly. And then Chad Daybell had that right whenever Nate Eaton was taking us through, the day before the Chad Daybell's house was torn down. And right in that back room, it's like an outdoor kitchen looking kind of thing. And they had, he was like, this is where Spring Creek Book Company the sign used to be. And I was like, oh my God. And there's this little shelf looking thing, and it says Ray's Playpen. And I'm like, And then it brings me back to that whole phone call, the jail phone call between Chad and Lori, where they're talking in freaking blueprint code, So, and that's why that phone call got entered into evidence or testimony at Chad Daybell's trial by Ray Hermosillo, because it was the day before Tylee and JJ's remains were unearthed from Chad Daybell's property. And so, yeah, they are talking in code. You don't know really what they're saying. I think that they're talking in Brotherhood Freemasonry, but I mean, whatever. So, but I've put Tim Ballard as Brian Black. I'm like, I know Eminem has nothing to do with this, allegedly, maybe far off. Eminem, Marshall Mathers, Sean Combs was Puff, P. Diddy Love, etc. Sean Carter was Jay-Z. Beyonce Knowles was it Queen Bee or something, or something with an S. Sasha or something. Garth Brooks was Chris whatever. Lori and Chad were James and Elena. I mean, just you know what I'm saying? Like, there's definitely some kind of little. Did y'all know also that David Hamblin thinks that he is somebody or some important people in his past lives as well? Yeah. Thought that was interesting. They also administer priesthood blessings for healing, and healing to them is to inflict pain upon a child because that's what they're taught is right. So they think, no wonder they look at us like we're freaking losing it and we're persecuting them because they really do. Maybe, I don't know. It's what it changes. It's a very fluent. I will change because I go back and forth with that. Because I'm like, do they believe what they do and practice and believe? Do they believe this wholeheartedly? Do they? I don't know. Or is it just something they're doing to manipulate? You see what I'm saying? I'm like, I should have been a detective, but you're talking to actual sis. Yeah, but I remember that phone call. I just didn't know if Lori picked up the remains or just left them there. Doubt she'd spend money to get them though. Which one's Joe's or Charles's? Charles's ended up, look, and this is before anything hit the news media, okay? So this was right whenever, so we got Uncle Charles's remains by August. I know we had his celebration of life August 3rd in Lake Charles, Louisiana, where we live. And he was murdered July 11th, so however, I don't know. I didn't count the days. But I remember when his remains came in, I was like, I mean, just again, random. I just say things like I have some kind of syndrome or something. But I was like, Mom, you need to go make sure there's not kitty litter or something. I don't know. How do you know that they're really his remains and not some kind of angel dust or something? I don't know. Some kind of anthrax. Anyways. All right. Okay, hold on. Hierarchy. Okay, I don't know if y'all want to hear this. I don't know if I have this audience. I've kind of ran everybody off anyways by now. Okay, I mean, it's interesting though. I think it's relevant. So it's my channel. Hierarchy kids are tested. They do things like they're crucified, made to wear thorns on their head because they do reenactments. They invert it. Okay. They invert like the nativity scene, the Last Supper. You saw that at the Olympics lately. Spear to the side. I thought that was a very interesting thing. They have to be able to raise themselves from the dead. And there are actual flipping accounts of these stories told in the Hamlin statements, allegedly stating that some of these kids are buried alive, and then when they're on the brink of death, they are like pulled out of the grave, but it's not Jesus that saves them. It's the same rhetoric. It's not Jesus that saves them because they're crying. They tell them to pray to Jesus, pray to Jesus, pray to Jesus, see if he'll save you. And then Jesus does not come. And I mean, Bishop Glenn Pace explains this verbatim in his Pace memo to the church that he was not planning on putting public. So at the very last minute, somebody representing Satan in their little system rescues the child. And so that child is rescued by Satan. And so there is an inversion here. And so whenever Lori says that Satan has been after her since she was a little girl, I believe it. I do. I believe it. Whenever Kevin Franke says that, freaking door cabinets and dishes and all the hoo-hoo and the woo-woo were going on while Ruby and Jodi were shacked up in Sherry's room. I mean, I believe it. I do, because this is some evil shit. I really do. No wonder. Not to mention, this was interesting. I learned this from watching Joe Schmo's channel, and I remember learning it about the temple. But I'd never put it together with Lori and her dancing, whatever, with the mirrors and everything that she would have put in her houses, okay, for her to be able to dance, whatever. I'm sorry, I'm saying whatever, but it's just gross. So the thing about the mirrors are that the mirrors in the temple face one another, which causes a dun dun dun. I don't know. a portal. I was like, ooh, that's pretty big. So thank you to Joe Schmo. And then I remember Megan mentioned it earlier, and I was like, oh God. So, okay, and it says, uh, they have to heal themselves from that test. So they have to be able to raise themselves from the dead, whatever that looks like. I don't know. I'm just here reporting. Have to heal themselves from that test. Tested to see if they can heal themselves. Remember, Lori and them are in charge of healing and music. So is Ruby. Ruby played a harp. Guess who else played a harp? The Hamlin daughters played harps hanging from balconies at Gordon Bowen's place, allegedly, during these, I'd say the Mormon version of Diddy's white parties. I don't know. And they would lay out what? Tarps and plastic all over the floors and the everywhere. And I was like, oh my God, this is coming full circle right now. Because this is what Alex did allegedly with Zalema. They went to Walmart, picked up a whole tarp, and then he gave her a massage, and then she felt woozy and fell asleep. Probably because it felt good. But come on. And then they found tarps in Lori's apartment whenever, I found that out during the trial with those masks too. I called it a monkey mask, but it was just an old man mask, which is even effing scarier. We're just missing the hoods. Anyways. And it says that when this is all from Jesse the boater, who is also an SRA survivor, who names Mitt Romney and other people. All right, so okay, so they tested to see if they can heal themselves, obtain this gift of healing through lots of practice via torture, abuse, etc. Mixes in the spiritual abuse, i.e., why hasn't Jesus appeared to you? Why hasn't he saved you, etc. And then she goes into the 7 sufferings of Christ, the fullness with 1 L of your faith are now coming into your fruition. Are they going to go into that phase? I am God. Like Jodi did a lot of I ams too. I think if they pass, they move on to Thomas the Apostle. Oh, she's explaining symbolism. My bad. But that other part was not symbolism. Okay. Oh, I wrote this down. Stigmata syndrome is this why we have the syndrome to heal themselves as gods, because they went through torture, abuse, rituals, mocking Jesus in a ritual as Jesus on the cross with nail holes, spear to the side, etc. Anyways, my notes are crazy. Okay, it goes into different things. Okay, gathering from page 60 of the Hamlin statements, the victim statements, the daughters. Types of gathering ceremonies would happen around 1 to 2 times a month. Types of gathering ceremonies would happen around 1 to 2 times a month. More in the warmer months, but weren't always in the cemetery. Though they seem to prefer those. Just saying. I know, Bewitched, I know. I can't even believe I'm going over this out loud like this. I should have just hit a members only live stream. Didn't know. And I was watching, I forget the name of the channel. I can't think of it, but the defense attorney, Bob Mata, he said that Lori Vallow was like Ruby Frankie on crack. So I wrote that down. So these are questions I write to myself. Do we know if perhaps investigators obtained any type of like step counter, like the app, the fitness app on your iPhone? Because Uncle Charles had an iPhone. Gross. That's nasty. She's like, psst, psst. Anyways, they got tarps. They've got tarps. Man, I'm going 50 different ways with all that. I can come back with so many things on that, but I'm not trying to be a lady. Okay, Lori filed a motion which appeared to be an attack, a shot through the bow, because Is it more of a circumstantial evidence, or why did I write that? Or a first degree? Why all the butthurt in these cases? Is it truly about a violation of their rights? Is it truly about Lori getting a fair trial or seating a competent jury? And so I asked this to Jason the other day. I'm like, they even sat up 2 juries, I think, with O.J. Simpson, which Janice loved. Okay, Janice loved watching the whole trial, allegedly. So, has a jury never been able to be seated ever in the history of our judicial system? Just, I'm asking. It's a dumb question, probably. Lori sits on her jilt. I'm not gonna read yours out loud. It's a setup. Bewitched, right? Remember, I missed it. Let's just say Lori was born and bred to be exactly who she is. That is a perfect way of saying it. Perfect, Ravina. You have a weak tummy? Oh, well, you're in the wrong place, girl. Oh my gosh, you should have a tough one by now. We got you. We'll hold your hair. How about that? Not far-fetched, Kay, this Kiribati next to Kauai Mormon that lives in Arizona right now says, and this is what's going on, y'all. Look up Abrima. What's her name? I always get her first name messed up. It's Abramovich from the Ukraine, which David Levitt has business dealings there, allegedly. I'm just waiting to find a picture of Marina Abramovich with Tim Ballard. Oh, that's another thing, y'all. So there's more into that, and Pamela Anderson connects a lot of things, and so it's really weird, But yeah, we'll go more into that too soon. God, there's so many things, and I know people are like, "What is she talking about?" I've researched all the people in and around Chad and Lori Daybell's case. Lori was my aunt, and Kay Vallow Woodcock is my mom. Charles was my uncle. That makes JJ. JJ was my nephew, but he was adopted by my uncle, Charles Vallow, and his hooker wife, Lori Vallow Daybell. Lori Cox, Yanez, oh crap. LaGoya, okay. Ryan Vallow Daybell. She sounds like a Pepto-Bismol commercial. Heartburn, diarrhea, straight up. Or we have this little law office around here, and it's Cox, Philo, Cook, Reed, and Welsh. I can remember that. She sounds like that. She sounds like a law firm or a Pepto-Bismol Pepto-Bismol commercial. Anyways, I know I'm very scatterbrained right now. Oh. July 2nd, 2024, Lori Vallow Daybell's Arizona attorney argued on Tuesday that cameras should not be allowed in court. Reporter Justin Lum, Fox 10, responded to the request in person, to which Judge Boreski prescribed that the proceedings, I didn't finish it, whatever. Y'all know how we get them. Hopefully that won't be that way during the trial. Hopefully, yeah. I mean, she didn't make a proper stink this last time. Like, she was like, Court TV, you're picking on me and my husband who doesn't claim me. You're not the special wife, girl. Oh, and remember when Lori, there was that infamous Reddit email or the zombie email, which was actually Warwick and Gibb that wrote that. And so they say that Lori was their favorite spouse. I remember saying that when I recited that, and I was just like, oh my God. Merle and I gave Lori to Chad. Stupid. Oh, Portal Prison. Portal Prison. Rule 120. Okay, let me see. And also Lori Daybell said, it's a spear through my heart. I note things that are repetitive, like these I call them dog whistles. She said that when FBI agent Doug Hart was reading the text messages into, this was Chad Daybell's, but it was in both trials, a week after Charles's death. She was like, it was a spear through my heart, when she didn't get the insurance money. So that's what she thinks about that. Oh my gosh, Janelle, I'm just now seeing the comment that I've had posted up here. And that just, higher priesthood. That's what, like, the whole, what I've gathered, I hate even using that word. What I've learned from the Hamblin documents and just a lot, there's so many experiences in there. I'm just like, oh my gosh, does this end? How they remember all this stuff, and they all corroborate each other. Each of the sisters, they went in different times. They didn't fill out their paperwork together. It's not like a script. There's no way they could have anyways. It's no, sorry. But oh, it's nuts. What happened to your comment? Did I take it down? Damn. Oh, you did. Okay. The higher priesthood thing. It was about like, oh, it's okay. No. I was just like, I'm losing my shit. I'm about to end this live. No, you're good, Donna. Thank you. Okay. Basically, and I don't know how to say this because it's really gross, but I shared this not long ago. It's been on Fox 13 News. You can look up the news story. Look up Brett Bluth. He accuses Hamblin, who was his therapist. He was recommended from the church, just like Jodi Hildebrand stuff. Just like Hamblin's patients were, they're on the list. And they throw the vulnerable people into the arms of these predators. And so the boy at the time, said that Hamblin kept trying to convince the boy that he had been satanic ritually abused. And the boy was like, no, nah. And Hamblin was like, well, yeah, I hypnotized you and you revealed that. And he said, no, you didn't. And I love it. I'm here for that all day. And so anyways, and then allegedly Hamblin essayed him right there in the office. But the whole point of the boy going, who is now Brett Bluth, he said that, because he was having homosexual, the whole I'm gay. And so go get fixed, and then they throw him into the arms of these, they even pay for it, allegedly, according to Jodi Hilderbrandt. Just throwing that out there. That's very weird. Very, very concerning. And so Hamblin, according to these documents and these people's statements of these survivors, Hamblin would believe allegedly that his seed, his sperm, heals things. There was a dying tree allegedly in one of the reports, one of the experiences from one of the girls said that there was a dying, like a stump or whatever. And this is so freaking weird. I don't even know how to say it out loud. It's not my weird though, right? But they went and bought some stuff for the tree to, I guess, not make it sick anymore. And then Hamblin proceeded allegedly to man-seed. We'll just call it man-seed the tree. Allegedly. I don't know. Wasn't there. Thank God. Because it has healing properties, I suppose. Fucking nasty. Oh, I'll just read this because this came from part 2 of the Tim Ballard thing. Y'all see my notes. This is crazy. Introduction. In part 1, I'm sorry, I can take this down now. If she ever wants to speak out though, please, I would, or just speak to me. Oh my God, I would love to find out all the things. And I would never, I wouldn't share it unless she wanted me to or knew about it. in part 1, we graze the outskirts of people connected to and their organizations surrounding Mormon Timothy Blaine Ballard, the so-called founder of the once noble nonprofit organization known as Operation Underground Railroad, OUR. Tim was the inspiration for the blockbuster movie. I'm sorry, I got a lot of scratches. In Sound of Freedom. In July of 2000, was it 24 or 23? I don't remember. We learned more about the executive producers of The Sound of Freedom, the Slim family, John Paul DeJoria. He owns Paul Mitchell. And Patron. Yeah, so another tequila company. All the tequila companies. You do the math. Executive producers of The Sound of Freedom, the Slim family, John Paul DeJoria, Paul Hutchinson, and his wife, his ex-wife now, who was not arrested, she was sentenced, for SRA, basically. I'll call it that. And then Eduardo Verestigi and Tim Ballard. In the second part, we will continue our journey putting together the puzzle pieces of this network of nefarious people. And so that's from a non-famous is his name. Found connections to, I don't even want to say that gate, through Tony. I don't even know these people. Oh, Marina Abramovich, PETA. So I bet you that ties in with the Best Friends Animal Society. God dang it. Give me my damn thing. Will the Levitts connect here via the Esalen Institute, Best Friends Animal Society? And if connected to Best Friends, then let's make an entrance for the Process Church of the Final Judgment, which is Scientology, right here. Because if they're connected, then this means they are all connected. Not to mention David and Shalom Levitt's suspicious and alleged criminal and illegal adoption of Native American Alessandra Fishing Hawk, in which we saw the videos of this that are in evidence now, in which Levitt bragged to a documentarian on camera how he walked onto I want to say a North Cheyenne reservation and simply walked off 5 minutes later with a 2-year-old baby girl in tow. Not to mention, he didn't obtain, or it is alleged that he did not obtain the father's permission. The father it would not have been illegal. I mean, it would not have been legal in my opinion. Or the fact that Alessandra's mother is also someone Levitt prosecuted a couple times. Fishing Hawk's mother was also seen driving around in a newer Cadillac sedan. Any correlation? Yeah. David and Shalom Levitt run the Ukrainian-based school, the Levitt Institute, and have strong ass ties to you. This is my research right here. All this strong ties to the Ukrainian Viktor Yushchenko. Thank you, Zenaida Rivera. How you been? Great job, Ladybug. It sucks. I feel like I'm weeble wobbling everywhere. I feel like I'm making everybody's head spin because maybe mine feels like it's spinning. It needs to come out, It's like they say the body keeps the score. Hello? I'm holding all this information in, and it's time to get it out because I'm about to lose weight. Just kidding. Thank you again. I really appreciate you. Thank you for hearing all this crappy stuff and my deliverance of it. Okay. I never came on my spot. Let's see. Okay, Viktor Yushchenko. If these people wind up connecting here, then this solves a large chunk of the puzzle, in my opinion. David Levitt did admit on camera in a Fox 13 News interview that Viktor Yushchenko from Ukraine doesn't have buffalo and needs some. And America has buffalo. So, dude, fill in the rest of the blanks. And then the baby girl as a Native American. Okay. 1 + 1 + 1. Trafficking. Okay, so maybe they can form an agreement, aka trafficking, being boasted about straight in our faces, as if we aren't intelligent enough to see through their bullshit. Continuing on, the second part is a deep dive into the dark world of, and I don't like this word because I'm just like, it just is a weird word, cabal. I don't do it. Okay. So be ready so this is him again. When I drop this next truth explosion. Plus, I've always been leery when someone mentions the word, no, that's me, cabal. Likely because I've been indoctrinated into developing a strong criticism against it. Right. So we will deep dive this together. See you on the other side. Anyways, I don't know if y'all want to keep going on. I can go on. The Masonic symbolism of OUR and Mormonism. Oh yeah, we'll go over that too. Not right now, but oh, I will mention this. The chain symbolism. Remember how, Lori is a prisoner. That goes hand in hand, literally, with chains. Okay. So punny. But the fact that y'all remember how, on Operation Underground Railroad's emblem, their logo, they have it in their logo. It's on the Sound of Freedom movie too. Okay. And then in Chad Daybell's closing arguments, I want to say, with John Pryor, whomever did the presentation, like whoever put that presentation together and it was on the overhead, the Elmo or whatever, it had effing chains on it. I'm not playing. So I'm like, who put that together? Was it Daybell that put that together, or did John Pryor secretary, or what? Signs everywhere. And let's first check the symbolism within the organization Tim Ballard comes from, as well as those he founded himself, sit on boards of, and those in which he aligns with. And then we'll see how they connect to or with John Paul DeJoria. Remember when Lori first she got extradited from Hawaii back to Idaho? It was like 6 years ago today. Me and Jason or yesterday. We were supposed to get married yesterday, 6 years ago. Mm-hmm. But Lori came in and he had a thoracotomy. So, okay. And then it says, then we will see if they can. Okay. Oh, John Paul DeJoria, he's the owner of Paul Mitchell and Patron. So, but there was a Paul Mitchell vehicle sitting outside of the courthouse, and we were like, oh, hell no, she's not getting her hair done at Paul Mitchell. What do they do? Go to the jail to do her hair? We were all just flipping out. All of the internet, YouTube. So it says the Three Links Fraternity. Okay, the Three Links Fraternity, striving to make this world a better place in which to live. Motto is friendship, love, truth. Objective is to improve and elevate the character of man. The three chain symbolism is a Freemasonry symbolism. Present. Note, John Pryor, Chad Daybell's attorney, used this chain imagery in his presentation during his closing arguments in May of 2024. Daybell sponsored OUR, the Rexburg Rescue Run in Rexburg, the same weekend that Tylee Ryan was murdered. Well, I mean, she was murdered, but murdered? No one was murdered here. Sacrifice, right? Tammy volunteered, but she didn't run in the race, as we had all been told. Nobody ever corrected us on that till Chad Daybell's trial. Then we didn't want to believe Emma because we can't believe her on anything else. Can we talk about the inversion exploitation of simply the name of Operation Underground Railroad and the book Slave Stealers, or the NPO, nonprofit organization Slave Stealers? Hello. And then not to mention like M. Russell Ballard allegedly telling Tim Ballard, this is out of Tim Ballard and Ken Krog's mouths themselves. Okay. They said they were going back and forth trying to tell Tim Ballard's alleged victim, one of them, that they said they were just bantering back and forth and said that, oh my God, I can't get it. M. Russell Ballard said to start a nonprofit organization soon or in 10 years, they'd all be slaves. And I was just like, oh, you can't make this shit up. Told you I walked into a global conspiracy. It's not mine. I'm just another whistleblower, which is well known as the very thing that was developed by Harriet Tubman. And I mean, it had to do with, slavery. And I just feel like that's exploited because that's what these people do. They exploit everything. I don't care. All the way to your ashes being sent to somewhere in Louisiana, their family, by Chad Daybell. I'm just saying these people will stomp on you every step of the way. That's why I thought that this hearing or these motions were from Lori, and I was like, oh my God, she is not doing that to that baby girl. Somebody put her out of her misery, or put us out of our misery. Oddfellows is Skull and Bones, FLT, All Seeing Eye imagery. Anything to do with the Skull and Bones? If not, note how similar it is to Skull and Bones. Okay, they're two different, Oddfellows and Skull and Bones. And how Russell M. Nelson, the prophet and president of the church today, the living prophet, and M. Russell Ballard, the one that died, that had priesthood blessings and everything to Tim, right, was financially backing Operation Underground Railroad, is the hierarchy that I always felt in my gut feeling. I was like, this goes up, but I just didn't know where, how. I didn't know all the terminology or the structure of this enterprise. I didn't know all that then. And so as I gained the tools and sharpened my tools along the way about what I was looking at, I like this whole time I've been trying to figure out, what is this? What is this? Why did my aunt, do this? Why are we here? And what sent me down that rabbit hole was wanting to know why people were saying that they were cult leaders, when everything, I was just like, what is the same? But I didn't know enough. I do now. I might not be able to explain it, but I promise you, it is the same. Most part. Freemason structure. Oh, whoa. Russell M. Nelson and M. Russell Ballard are Skull and Bones. Wasn't George Bush or something? And I looked up Tom Harrison's name one time, and it landed me on Defending Utah, which is, that's where I found out, according to them, like Senator Mike Lee, who met with Tim Ballard in the airport, allegedly, to discuss him running for Senate. And then, because, he had been ordained by priesthood blessings by Ken Krogh and mother effing Tom Harrison. Tom Harrison. I know there's a lot of people. See, there's a lot of people. For reals. It connects to Jodi Hilderbrandt, Ruby Franke, Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell, Tom Harrison, Ken Krogh, Tim Ballard. And of course, all being influenced by Tom Harrison's now infamous book, Visions of Glory. It's just part of the story. He's just another brother, okay, in the enterprise, in my opinion. But I do believe that a lot of the things that, his book is, it's like it halfway talks about near death, in my opinion. This is just my view and my inverted way of looking at their shit now. Like, from studying their stuff, it's like, I don't look at it as religious stuff or whatever. I'm not interested in it most of the time, but I catch these themes or these patterns. I don't know what to call them, but I'm like, oh my God, it's pretty much verbatim. If you just read it and you got to take Jesus out of it. They do. So this is how I believe they communicate in plain sight, and so this, are the people that Tim Ballard has had roles in. And that's like half the congregation of the church right there. And they all in prison except for Tim and Julie, allegedly. Right now, Tim Ballard, in my honest opinion, is the P. Diddy of the Mormon city. Okay. And then, I've shared these before. I need to change these out again. You have this one. Cucamonga cracker killer right there. Okay, let's see. The Nazarene Fund. Oh yeah. Huggy Bear sent me a good clip the other day on Tim Ballard. They said he was clinching, and he sure was, because he got called out. Let's see. Carlos Slim. Sounds like a cool band name or something. Carlos Slim playing the guitar. No. He's actually the wealthiest man in the world. And he funded the operation. No, he funded Sound of Freedom. That movie that people who watched it claim that it does save children. It does not. Biden. Whoa. See, I'm not into all this stuff yet. I'm just like, what? Because I sound crazy and I don't like it. But like I said, I just kind of write it down, take notes, and then I just kind of filter through it. See important PDF, a gold mine of an article. Okay. Hold on. All cases of ritual abuse to this day have dismissed it as a moral panic, or they call it a satanic panic, a public relations and psychological operation to attempt to minimize the abuse as hysteria, which is really gross. And it's not the first time that something gets labeled something because we're on to them. And it's not because I don't think it's because there's a panic, a moral panic, a nothing. I think it's just really resonating in our own souls because we were born with our own abilities to sense danger. We have feelings and senses, and we are taught, in my opinion, indoctrinated to not use our own senses. So probably that maybe they can take advantage of us. It sounds like it would track, sounds like that would line up. And if we stop and just relying on critical thinking, and I mean, we need it all, right? I mean, these are things that we were born, these are God-given birthrights, in my opinion, and we need to use them. And so whenever they say moral panic, I say alarm bells. Okay. And we're just like, what's going on over there? And call it what you will, but that's nasty. If you're going to deter people away from your nasty skeletons in your closet where you're harming children and you think it's righteous. Y'all remember when Rob Wood said that? He was like, he told Summer Shiplet this, and anyways, he said, what your sister has done, she thinks she has done in righteousness. And I'm just like, whoa, that ain't no lie. Then I was watching Joe Schmo and Salty the other day, and they were playing Melanie Gibbs' freaking interview, right? Her East Idaho News extravaganza, KJ. And she said, you just catch things different. Like I said, I didn't know all this stuff that I know now all the times I watched her interviews before, or any of these people's. But she said about the secret combinations, she was talking about the doctrines of devils and how if Chad was a Satan, he sure was a good one. That's what Lori said. I mean, come on, all the signs are there. All the symbols are there too. And the evidence are my family members, the kids for sure. The other thing is this gathering humanity and then gathering. Come on now. Shit. Oh, here we go. Here's the tarp. Okay. This, despite the wealth of, I'm kind of reading it slow because I don't know what I might have to, it's pretty crazy language and acts. So this, despite the wealth of evidence given by survivors and whistleblowers. Going back to page 52, Hamblin and a blue tarp. It's the Hamblin daughter blue tarp. I wrote that. It's experience number 52. Man from out of town dead. Sorry, told y'all. Saturday night in the warmer months of 1993. It was at the Provo house, she alleges. It was one time. Rosie and David, she alleges her parents were there. And it just says include to show child prostitution under guise of therapy. So that was my point. My point is just to share, which I didn't finish it. But yeah. Anyways, I'll have to get all this stuff together, y'all. It's a lot to compile. Okay, I didn't go to school for this, so you know. July, I'm going back to Charles and their case. July 12, 2019, Valley of the Sun mortuary. Chad's call to Valley of the Sun, not receiving life insurance. And then August 12th, 2019, change beneficiary to Colby for her life insurance. You know, I wonder who it was. We'll find out, I hope. Body cam footage reveals the moments when American Fork plea. Oh, see, I'm now Ruby Frankie. Sorry, y'all. This is what I do, and this is why I'm never prepared, because I'm always spinning. Body cam footage reveals the moments when American Fork police, which is where Brandon Boudreaux's parents live, find two of Ruby's daughters miles away from their mother and her associate, Jodi Hilderbrandt, as they were being arrested, right? And so it's just the body cam footage. I'm writing timestamps down, and police knock on the door. Pam Botcher detained. They detained her. Officer calls Department of whatever, DPS. I don't know. Officer speaks with Botcher. Officer husband speak, and daughter sitting on the porch. Wouldn't say nothing, remember? Pam's husband and the officer cop stays with daughter. Springville PD arrived. This is where Chad freaking grew up. Okay. This is where Ruby and Kevin raised their kids too. Second daughter comes out. DCFS arrives. DCFS questions Botcher. Okay, come on, Krish. But the thing I'm trying to prove, and I'll share that. I've been pulling the clips and everything too. That's why I wrote that down. But I have the clips. I just need to put it out. There are chores that the Hamlin daughters say that they have to do, but it's under the guise of this child prostitution. Do you understand? I'm just saying. I'm going to stop reading that damn notebook because it's getting on my nerves. And I'm going to grab this clip real quick, and then we'll leave. I appreciate y'all for being here, even though I don't know. I'm just very scattered. I hate days like this. I really do. Okay, stop flipping out. All right. Frankie. Let me just put that in. Thank you again for being here too. Okay. Hopefully. Oh, nope. I wish it would change automatically. If there's ever one thing I wish that StreamYard would update, it would be that. Okay. So again, it'll copy the same pictures over and over again. So I wonder if this is it. No, that's me talking, I think. We're on the search again, y'all. Too many people to keep up with in these Mormon YouTube streets. Oh, this is pretty good too. Allegedly. Music. It's going to have music. I'm just trying to put something together. Sounds like Yellowstone. It was a very rough cut, so just know that. Ugh. It's like a soap opera, you know, but it kind of sounds like Yellowstone a little bit, kind of, barely. So that was totally irrelevant, but it was relevant to me. Let's see. It just makes me wonder about Ruby's sisters. It makes me I feel like Jodi and Ruby both grew up in the same kind of household as Chad, Lori, you know, the Hornet's Nest, the Coxes were referenced as something, it was something along those lines. Give me grace. I don't remember like all the things all the time. But somebody said that the Cox family was like dealing with a hornet's nest, a psychological hornet's nest, I believe. This is Tom. Oh, it's probably another video thing. I was thinking this is him talking, but it's not going to have visions of glory behind him like that. Play. I think it's going to provide a lot of insight. Yeah, that's Julie Rowe. Okay. Man, do you like the sound of your own voice? Because I don't. It sucks. Here we go. Here's kind of a better description, a visual of what we're dealing with. That's just to name a couple. Oh well, they're repeating, but still, it's pretty scary, you know. When you think about that. That's pretty freaky. But that guy, Bob Mata or whatever his name is, he said that, you know, Lori was Ruby Frankie on crack. That's crazy. This is all the stuff that, or just some of it. Here's that False Memory Syndrome Foundation, dude. This is the guy that appeared on a Mormon Stories podcast, which somebody left a comment. I think it was one of Hidden True Crimes moderators. I remember seeing their name before. And I mean, they weren't being rude. They were just like, oh, you know, because when you talk about the satanic panic stuff, it just is satanic panic. And so I'm like, this is my family. Do you know whose channel you're leaving this comment on? Have I researched it? You have no idea how many times I've researched it and passed. I've bought this dude's book, Rumors with Devils. I've read it. His name is something Massimo, Introvine or something. He's a spin doctor, in my opinion. He's just another one of these clowns that, you know, try to spin the narrative just like the False Memory Syndrome Foundation. But anyways, they've done a lot of damage and it's really shitty and they should be ashamed of themselves. But look, you know, this is from Grizzly True Crime. And this is our Frankie, you know, that was also JJ. His hands, his arms, everything was bound together with duct tape. Jodi Hilderbrandt talks about duct tape being on their mouth. There's a lot of weird, but very relevant similarities. If y'all haven't ever gone to Natalie, the lawyer chick's channel, she's a lawyer and she does a video and she just boom, 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 compares them, you know, Ruby and Lori. And it's very interesting. I'm not trying to show their faces. This is our hero right here. You know, and there's his dad. That's Adam Steed and his dad. We're very proud of them and the fighting that they do and the advocacy work. They have no idea how much, you know, they've helped children, especially stuck within the Boy Scouts of America. They were part of taking it down, bankrupting it or whatever happened to it. Not enough because I think they rebranded actually. It's kind of like the Gulf of America. Anyways, I just couldn't laugh after that. Looking for the videos. I thought I'd had one pulled together. Guess I don't.
Connection requires someone to live principles of being honest, responsible, and humble.
This is not.
So vulnerability means I'm willing to accept the state of existence in this world.
Yeah, you are not. But I wonder how many people.
Honesty and responsibility and humility are at the foundation of living a life that's connected.
Well, you got disconnected. Amen. And I hope that Michael Tillman, I hope his daughter gets what the hell she deserves. That's all. And I'm just so grateful that Michael Tillman came out with that lawsuit accusing these folks as a criminal enterprise that harm people. And I'm jumping on that bandwagon. That really inspired me to do what I'm doing and pull all this together. And if I am like, I don't know about statutes of limitation, I don't know with murder and stuff, but I don't think there is statute of limitations on that. Do y'all know? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Ravina. I really am. I'm sorry. You is kind, you is smart, and you is important. Okay. You're loved. Always. What Donna say? Evil stupid curse, yeah. Yes. He is a warrior for sure. Adam is the brother I wish I had. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's just, and he don't realize how much power he's like, or not power, but yeah, power, because he is a warrior, and he doesn't even realize his own strength, maybe. I mean, because of Adam Steed's talking on Mormon Stories podcast, even though they took it down or whatever, there is a copy floating around somewhere, allegedly. And, that's how I connected Frank Vandersloot with all the East Idaho news. And not only that, there's much, much more, but, there's Pam Botcher, who, was still hanging with her best friend, Jodi Hilderbrandt, whenever Jesse was around. Didn't say nothing. She saw something, didn't say something. She's another Melanie Gibb. I mean, this is what happens. Allegedly. I'm going to say allegedly. Yeah. I hope that they feel vindicated. I hope Jesse feels vindicated in some way. I hope they're getting some kind of healing from that, from their aunt finally being held accountable for what has put out there, And here's Mormonism and Scientology.
You have a partner, like when I developed a partnership that makes it possible to be anywhere God needs us.
They're selling the couple's ruse. This is right after the cat was out the bag when the women came forward.
And yet
then they deleted it. You saw his Satan horns? I'm gonna talk over it, so watch this little. He does like this twice. His little Satan horns.
You have a partner, like you and
One,
I
two.
developed a partnership that
Gonna
makes
do like
it
that.
possible to be anywhere God needs us to be, and yet we violate no
Right there.
moral issue.
We could
You are morally bankrupt.
being disgusting people to convince these disgusting people and not have to actually do.
Sorry. Look, they took it, they erased it. Like and whatever, you put it on private or whatever, because I happened to catch it that night and then boom, it was gone. I was like, oh, so I had talked over it. And so I saved a copy where I'm not talking over it, but it does stop, because that's just the way my thing records. Yeah. I mean, that's what the hell they do. Pain, children, they're in, these poor kids, man. And they grow up not even thinking anything's wrong.
My daughter was saying her prayers. Eve, she was 6 years old at the time. And she was saying her prayers and she said the cutest thing. I thought it was so cute. And I started laughing. She said, "Dear Heavenly Father, please help me to survive." And I thought it was so cute. And it just took me off guard. And I kind of giggled a little. She would,
right? Just let me survive. Okay. No. Something is amiss here. Okay. This is not right. I feel like I have to. I feel like I feel compelled to do whatever I have to do. I don't know. I've always told you that. I don't know what the hell it is. It's starting to come together now, finally, after 6 years. But
we have new developments tonight. Records obtained by the KSL investigator showed Jodi Hildebrandt's niece reported the licensed mental health counselor to police for mistreatment while in her care.
Hildebrandt and former 8-passenger YouTuber Ruby Franke are in custody tonight, facing several charges of aggravated child abuse. KSL investigator Daniela Rivera join us right now with what these latest documents reveal. Danny?
Well, Mike and Deanie, these are American Fork Police records from 2010. We now know more than 13 years ago, Hildebrandt's niece reported questionable counseling methods to police, and Hildebrandt continued to practice for years.
I just had a 12-year-old boy show up here at my front door asking for help.
Long before police say a child escaped from Jodi Hildebrandt's Ivins home on August 30th, the licensed mental health counselor's niece was in Hildebrandt's care. In March 2010, the juvenile left Hildebrandt's home in American Fork and asked police for information about a safe house. According to this police report from that incident, the teen told police Hildebrandt was mean, very strict, had called them a liar and told them they were going to be a cheap hooker one day, had forced them to sleep in a sleeping bag outside of the home, only allowed them to shower for 7 minutes at a time, and at one point placed duct tape over their mouth. Hildebrandt's niece also told police they had been wearing the same clothes for weeks and were not enrolled in school, calling this Jodi's methods of counseling. The teen's father told police this was a ploy to get out of going to a wilderness program. The responding officer wrote at the end of the report, "I am requesting a copy of this report be forwarded to DCFS." 2 weeks later, Hildebrandt reported to police her niece had run away. She said she believed this was to avoid being placed in a girl's home. According to the report, police learned the teen had previously sent a message to a friend that said, "Dude, save me, I'm trapped." Weeks later, police found the teen staying at a local shelter. The teen told police they ran away from Hildebrandt because she made them confess sins and tried to break them down. Hildebrandt went on to practice as a mental health counselor for more than 13 years before her recent arrest on charges of aggravated child abuse. I spoke with American Fork Police Chief Cameron Paul this afternoon. He said they checked and they have no record of following through with those plans to send their report to DCFS. He said today he wishes the department had dug a little deeper into what the teen was telling officers at the time back in 2010. Mike and Deanie.
Ooh, my bad. Okay. This one.
Decades-old sexual abuse and LDS Church cover-up allegations now resurfacing again. At least 6 people suing the daughter and son-in-law of Church President Russell M. Nelson.
Jim Stewart looked through the decades-old allegations. Jim, there are claims of abuse on kids as young as 1 year old.
That's just one of the allegations in this 79-page suit. Now, the defendants filed a motion to dismiss this thing. They want it thrown out. Their motion is 141 pages. Here it is right here. I read through all of them today, and the defendants, they are going to put up a fight.
Same stuff.
The allegations of sexual abuse stem back to the 1980s, accusing a John and Jane Doe of an LDS church leader that held touching parties and sexually abused kids as young as 1. The suit claims after the victims came forward, church elder Neil A. Maxwell blessed them and told them to forgive and forget.
Yeah.
The suit claims if church leaders had taken further action with police, the abuse might not have happened. But it wasn't until court records to dismiss the suit filed Wednesday in federal court show that the John and Jane Doe defendants are actually church president Russell M. Nelson's daughter, Brenda Miles, and her husband, Richard. In their dismissal motion, the Miles deny all allegations. They claim the victims only came forward after meeting with a psychologist alleged to be at the center of a satanic ritual scare back in the 1980s. The LDS Church was not named as a defendant in the suit, but because it involves the daughter and son-in-law of President Nelson, the church sent a statement saying, in part, these allegations of interference or cover-up are baseless and offensive. Law enforcement investigated this matter in the 1980s and took no action against the church or its leaders.
Because y'all are evasive.
So I asked the attorney for the plaintiffs why file this now, and he responded by saying because these alleged victims now have a voice, they want to be believed, and they want justice for living with the shame and pain of what happened to them as children. The defendants go on to say that the statute of limitations has passed, and that is grounds and a basis for this suit to be thrown out. We have put a copy of this claim, this complaint, up on our website, kutv.com, if you would like to see it. It has been fully redacted.
Hold on. It reminded me of something. Last day to file TVPRA, question mark. Let's find that out. There's no single. Okay, so this is the TVPRA, which is, I want to say it's like in 4 days. So people who have been out of the statute of limitations, it has something to do with that. So it says TVPRA is not an application. That's why I said file, like lawsuit is what I meant. Okay, the Trafficking Victims Protection Reauthorization Act of 2008 is a U.S. law that provides certain protections to victims of human trafficking, including some who are also seeking asylum. I wonder if that would play right into Gatherer 1 and Gatherer 2, which would be Christina and Nicole, who own Gathering Humanity, nonprofit organization that made $600 and some thousand. Huggy Bear found out the other day while we were alive. And that's what they do. They help those seeking asylum in Arizona, right there in Chandler. They're like, Chandler highlighted them. Also, did you know that Jason Mel and the mayor of Rexburg, who actually gave me my jacket with Tylee and JJ right here, and the city emblem on the back, the city seal. They spoke at the same conference in Arizona, and that's pretty troubling in my opinion. I mean, I just don't. I envision like city officials and people who are in charge of things, especially where my family was, or Tylee and JJ were murdered, Rexburg. I don't feel comfortable with the mayor and Jason Mao going to the same damn conference. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's weird. I don't like that. That's a conflict of my interest for sure. In my opinion, everybody has their own right to go and hang out and birds of a feather. It doesn't. Okay. So it says it doesn't have a filing deadline itself. Okay. Asylum has a deadline. Generally, individuals seeking asylum in the U.S. must apply within 1 year of their last entry into the country. However, there are exceptions to this rule. I remember hearing that this was going to be authorized through like February 25th or something. I could be. Let me go look at y'all's chat. I could be just barking up the wrong tree. Yes. Oh, I did at least feel bad. We at least have some money to tackle their asses. But they're saving it. They're saving it, Bewitched, for the second damn coming. Don't we know? Come on. Silly rabbits, right? Hold on. I know. I'm just like bringing y'all everywhere. It's like a field trip. Okay, I want to show y'all what I made. I don't even really, I've only come in here to create listings. Let's see. Okay. I don't know why it did the yellow. Let's see. I made this, but I made shirts. Okay, allegedly. Come on, let me see it. How do you look at it? Oh. Show me the damn pictures. Okay, here. Oh my gosh. No, I don't want to save it. Damn. I just want to look at it. This sucks. No, you can't really see it. Okay. Home. Donna, do you know? Let me go home. Leave. I mean, but I want mine. Where's the store? Stores? Oh. Okay. Oh, that's what Donna made. Oh, view store. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. I don't ever come in here. And sometimes I go on my phone, it looks different. Let's see. So I made this because I like to speak in my own secret society code. Okay? And in Idaho, Lori Daybell was convicted in 2020, what, 3? And so her inmate number is 153745, guilty AF. So I'm like, okay, that's like saying it without saying it. It's like being passive aggressive, just like she is. You could wear this into the courtroom. I don't think they would know. She'd have to point it out. I know. It's not very nice. And this says love always wins on the back. Anyways, so that's what I've been doing in my other pastime. It's very petty. I get it. But it's my petty pastime. Let's see. Okay. Made some aprons, some hoodies, a man shirt, mugs, and purple doesn't really show very well. And then I hate your books, Chad. I hate your books. I hate your books, Chad socks. And I made this too. How come I'm sorry, y'all. Okay. It's like a difficult research, whatever. Wrap mug. Anyways, I've got so many more designs. I've been pumping them out and I'm like, okay, because it's pretty easy. I just got to stay with it, but my attention span is that of a fly. Straight up. I think a fly has more of an attention span, but whatever. Anyway, you do love it? Okay, good. As long as, yeah, you should read the descriptions too. Anyways, so, all right, y'all. I'm sorry. I am tired. Maybe that's what it is. I slept. I don't know. My eyes have been burning too since I put makeup on while Megan was live. And anyways, they look like I've been swimming, They feel like I've been swimming. Hey, Carolina. How are you today? Jason Mal's post on his Instagram are things like Warrior Up. Oh yeah. I recorded his entire Facebook page presence, existence, I mean, I did. I screen recorded. I was like, okay. That's what I do sometimes, because like preparing a people, they dissipated. I found a 30-minute video from, it was in my Microsoft account that I forgot I'd gotten of preparing a people stuff, I mean, they think about this. They had a preparing a people, Mike and Nancy James, they straight up did Mike James with Chad Daybell they were advertising for a 10-part series into Chad's connection with the occult, straight up. I mean, they had a picture of Michael Jackson on there and all the dead people, Elvis or something, and I'm like, well, hello, here's our sign, We can't bitch about these things when we say, well, how did this happen? How, this is where I lived. Nothing ever happens like that here. Okay, it does. It does happen here. It just doesn't catch your attention or our attention until it affects you. And then you're like, holy crap. Oh, I want to check on NF Mom too. I remember she said something the other day about murders that happened in her community for the first time in forever. And yeah, so terrible. And I finally checked into that Wyoming lady with the 4 kids, but I don't remember it, so I'll have to go check it again. It's just one of my off days, I guess. Been appointment like the first commander in chief of the second coming of Jesus Christ. Do you want that on merch? I'll do it because that sounds great. Appointed or anointed? Ever since my iPhone updated just the other day, every time I type Tylee's name, like I don't know, I got so far into it, 6 years, I mean, it's not the same phone. I just got a new one, but something about this update, I don't know if you're having problems with it too, but it keeps putting Tyler. And I'm like, I used to not have to do that once I broke my iPhone and Siri in. Okay. I don't know. I hate that. And I'm like, no, I never meant Tyler. Yes, in the apron. Right. Oh man. So many ideas. If you have an idea and you want to share it, and you don't mind me slapping it on some merch. I even thought about creating some coloring books. That's something you can really get together and relieve stress. I mean, you can burn it if you want to, KJ. You can dance if you want to. Anyways, let's see. Yeah. We'll have to go over this the next time. Again, and I mean, I still want to go over those interviews too. Do y'all want to do Melanie Gibb, like her interview with Sherry Dowdle? Or do you want to do more in the case? Do you want to do Tylee Ryan's? Do you want to do Serena Sharp? Trying to think of who else. We need to listen to Adam and Debbie, Alex's his only ex-wife. He's got an ex-wife and a late wife. Or now he ain't got no wife. Unless he was promised one in the next life. Anyway, so yeah, this was put together by Rachel, Matthew, and Cameron. It came out January 14, 2019. I did not know what the hell any of these words meant back then. I'll tell you that. I didn't know anything about this at all. This is right about the time that Uncle Charles and Lori were, what'd she say? This is war. She meant it. She is a warrior, right? But anyway, so it came out into the Facebook groups on Doomsday Facebook group, but I didn't know what any of this stuff meant. It was like in 2020 when I first saw it, and I actually had it in a bunch of screenshots. So, but this is just that whole thing about the expose that these people, exposing what they believe is not right. And Mike Stroud is one of them people. He was Jason Mal's seminary teacher, meaning he also drew a paycheck from the church. That would have been his boss, but he's retired now. Mike Stroud came up in the trial and was mentioned by Chad and Lori. They were deciding whether he was light or dark, I believe. Chad said dark or something. He was not for the light. He was like, Lori was like, I don't know. I have to go back and revisit that. That way I can tell it accurately. But, and he refused also, according to police reports that, are in these files for my family, for Uncle Charles, Stroud, and I want to say Hector, refused to speak to law enforcement. So there's that. I mean, Christian people, I just don't get it. I just don't, I mean, Mormon, I don't understand. Why wouldn't you help? And I mean, I know the answer. It's a rhetorical question, but why wouldn't Christian people do everything in their power to aid in searching for the kids? And these it's so backwards. Everybody ran and they're like, nothing to see here. Not connected. Distance. And it's like cockroaches. And yeah. But according to Mike Stroud, men are being instructed in the spirit realm right now by translated beings, mentors, and instructors regarding their future missions. This is before the news headlines. He taught, so this is what Stroud taught, quote, there are men who are going on missions for the Lord right now in the spirit, being instructed by translated beings, tutored and taught in the instrument and the means. That's the word used in the Book of Mormon. The means whereby they can accomplish their mission. These men and women are being shown by their instructors, their mentors, who's translated beings and who's not, right? I'm telling y'all, these are like little names, like the ambassadors, the sharks, you know what I'm talking about, Chris. It's like this team over here is the translated beings, and teams over here are the cherub angels. It's just a name. It's a title, just like with the second anointing thing in the Church of the Firstborn. Church of the Firstborn is just a title. It's like Lori won the pageant, and they go give her a sash, and it says Mrs. Church of the Firstborn. You're in the club now, girl. You're exalted. You get to survive the NWO, basically, in my opinion. That's that global conspiracy thing that I think I ran across. I think that's why they're special and we're not. And that's why Barry thinks he's the top 5% and we're not. So we're dark. We need to be eradicated, according to Tom Harrison, according to his writings, at least. According to Mike Lee, Senator Mike Lee, I've heard him say the same dog whistle as Tom Harrison did in his book, and that Megan pointed out on Mormon Stories podcast with Mindy Caldwell and Lauren. And I've shared it here too. When they're ripe with iniquity, it's hard to say. So it's interesting. Okay. When you start tying all these things together, you can't look away. I mean, I would behoove you not to look away. At least be aware is all I'm asking. I'm not asking you to 100% align with everything I'm saying. I don't want you to. I don't want to be right, you know. I don't. I've followed my intuition, but I also follow evidence presented in the cases. I follow the words that are spoken, especially those that are spoken by all these people when they're not trying to convince me or anyone else of anything. You know, nothing to see here, you know, nothing like that. Like, we're so innocent. I like just kind of dropping in on them and you know, checking the temperature. What y'all doing over here? You know, what y'all doing in this circle? Yeah, see. Hold on.
Particular line that caught your attention.
Okay, I didn't want it to be loud.
Yes, this is the beginning of their relationship and continuation of that relationship in the coming months that encapsulate the time period of this investigation and the crimes that are alleged.
I don't know how Chad Daybell is not freaking being charged in this. It blows my mind. Anyways, let me finish this. It says these men are being shown by their instructors, their mentors, who are translated beings, exactly how to act in every circumstance. They are shown in real time the mission that is yet to be fulfilled in the future. This is just a code talk, but they talk in apocalyptic terms. They talk in brotherhood terms. They talk through Chad Daybell's writings. They talk through the train stream that Chad published. It's communicating in plain sight. They know what they're looking for. That's why they're like, ha, 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 blueprints. Oh, yeah. You know, and they're stupid. It's so stupid. But, you know, you just got to broaden your horizons a little bit. Open them up. Open your mind a little bit. Okay, so it says they are shown in real time the mission that is yet to be fulfilled in the future. This is not difficult for God to do because in the dimensions where he resides, of which there are innumerable dimensions where all things are before him, past, present, and future. This is something right there. That's something to, it means something to a Mormon somewhere that goes to the temple. And future in the now. He can instruct you in your future mission. Lori got her mission by having you participate in that mission right down to the very details of that experience in the spirit before it actually takes place at a later date in the future in the flesh. Sounds like an invitation to, y'all probably didn't get that, but to the second anointing. Why do this? Because in the future time, this is what gets me. I'm picturing the economy collapsing, okay? And this is what he's explaining. He's about to explain. And then it's like a plan. It's like, it's an elaborate freaking global conspiracy, in my opinion. So it says, Pastor, he can instruct you in your future mission by having you participate in that mission right down to the very details of that experience in the spirit before it actually takes place at a later date in the flesh, in the future in the flesh. Why do this? Because in the future time when emotions are high, circumstances are dire, environment is critical, there is no time to decide what to do. There is no time to be easily distracted by the circumstances around you. You have to act, and you have to act now, and do so with assurance and certainty that you are doing exactly what the Lords ask you to do. The Lords, plural. Make sense to me. Make sense to me. That would be much easier if you have seen all that. If you have seen all that right down to the detail in the spirit before you actually participate in the flesh. Oh, I know what this is. This is that whole inquire and plead to obtain and receive. I know. I hope somebody's brain is like mine because I feel crazy. Joseph Smith taught, nothing is a greater injury to the children of men. They're not talking about their children that should be nurtured. Okay, just know that. That's them. Nothing is a greater injury to the children of men than to be under the influence of a false spirit, Satan, when they think they have the Spirit of God. Thousands have left the influence. You're going to get it. You're going to get it. Thousands have left the influence of its terrible power and baneful effects. Quote goes on to say, as we have noticed before, the great difficulty lies in the ignorance of the nature of spirits. The difficulty lies in the ignorance of the nature of spirits, of the laws, which, I mean, Tom Harrison is like, there was this law. Okay. Ripe with iniquity shit. Okay. So of the laws by which they are governed, these spirits, and the signs, these are signs and tokens, symbolisms, okay, by which they may be known. If it requires the Spirit of God, which, I mean, Janice said she had the Spirit of God, but she couldn't have, wasn't her fault that Charles didn't have the Spirit of, the Holy Spirit. That's what she said. She said, I mean, it's bringing that up for me because she's telling Alex, she's like, it's not, he can't help her. I can't help that he doesn't have, she says, even if he doesn't have the Holy Spirit. I was like, you just said you had it twice. And then one time after you said he didn't have it, you said it 3 times and like, like 2 sentences, to your son. And then at the very end, she's like, I know I'm being led by the Spirit, but Charles doesn't have one. That to me says he is dark. He is marked. She knows he's a zombie. My opinion. Okay, so then it follows. Whoa. If it requires the Spirit of God to know the things of God, and the spirit of the devil can only be unmasked through that medium. Why is fucking Mike Stroud talking about this? Then it follows as a natural consequence that unless some person or persons have a communication, so this is like a requirement, it sounds like, unless some person or persons have a communication or revelation from God, unfolding, that's an interesting word, unfolding the universe, unfolding to them the operation of the Spirit. What operation? Oh, you mean the conspiracy? Probably. They must eternally remain ignorant of these principles. Now, Tim Ballard lives by principles. Jodi Hilderbrandt, you just heard her talk about some principles. Chad Daybell wrote about principles too. Principles is so does Tom Harrison. Principles, put that up there. It's high. For I contend that if one man cannot understand these things, but by the Spirit of God, 10,000 men cannot. It is alike out of the reach of the wisdom of the learned, the tongue of the eloquent, the power of the mighty. And we shall at last have to come to this conclusion, whatever we may think of revelation, that without revelation, we can neither know nor understand anything of God or the devil, he adds. And however unwilling the world may be to acknowledge this principle, their invisible principle, I don't know. It is evident from the multifarious creeds. Why is he talking about creeds? And notions concerning this matter that they understand nothing of this principle is coming. And it is equally as plain that without a divine communication, revelation, they must remain in ignorance. That sounds like iniquity. You're dark. A man may have the discerning of spirits, as we before stated, to understand these things. So, and how is he to obtain this gift if there are no gifts of the Spirit? That's a question. And how can these gifts be obtained without revelation? Christ ascended into heaven. This is some code talk. And gave gifts to men. And he gave some apostles and some prophets and some evangelists, and just name everybody. Just say it. And everybody, except for the dark ones. And some pastors and teachers. See this code link right here, this code scripture. And how were apostles, prophets, oh my God, again. And how were apostles, prophets, pastors, teachers, and evangelists chosen? By prophecy, revelation, and by laying on of hands, by a divine communication, probably from the prophet or something, and a divinely appointed ordinance. That sounds like the second anointing. Through the medium of the priesthood, power of the priesthood, or this could be the Melchizedek. Oh, I wonder if Jesus is the. Yeah, just know they're not talking about Jesus either. Not for sure, not the one you worship, if you know what I mean. So, anyways, it's a pattern for sure, and it's everywhere. By divine appointment, if you probably have to get that call out thing. The apostles in ancient times held the keys. The apostles in ancient times, they still do. Allegedly, they claim they do. The apostles in ancient times held the keys. Oh, that would be Moroni. That would be Nephi. Ancient prophets. Oh my God. Janet Russin claims to be talking to the prophet, the ancient prophet Nephi. And then Lori is claiming to be married to freaking Moroni, aka Jason, aka just this code. It's a code. The apostles in the ancient time held the keys of this priesthood of the mysteries of the kingdom of God. Look that up in Bruce R. McConkie's stuff. Everywhere. And consequently were enabled to unlock. You're able to get in through that veil and unravel all things pertaining to the government of the church, the welfare of society. These are code names to me. The future destiny of men. So what is the future destiny of these people? What are they striving for? What are they like, oh, okay, yeah, we won't kill you in the quote unquote apocalypse. Here, that's why we're saving all the money, because they're not waiting for Jesus, y'all. They are definitely going to bring in and usher in a second coming of sorts. We got to stop them. Okay. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Okay. So they're going to unlock the government. Okay. And the whole welfare system. Yeah. Lori tried. She got fraud. Okay. So do a lot of other people. The mysteries of the kingdom and consequence. Okay. The future destiny of men and the agency, power and influence of spirits, for they could control them at pleasure. Bid them depart. Bid them depart. That's casting out. Bid them depart in the name of Jesus. That's casting out. And detect their mischievous and mysterious operations, them damn evil kids, and Charles and Tammy, when trying to palm themselves upon the church in a religious garb, and militate and militate against the interest of the church and spread of truth. They think they're spreading further light knowledge, okay? The truth, one true church. And they think that they're righteous. They're inverted, y'all. It's fucking crazy. I hope y'all aren't like, oh my God, she needs help. It's not. It's them. This follows the pattern established in the 5th article of faith. So y'all should go look that up. That a quote, man must be called of God. Remember when Tim was? Remember when Chad and Lori were? By prophecy and by so you got to be called of God. You gotta have a calling, I guess, by the proper channels, by prophecy. So you got to have some kind of prophecy, and you have to have the laying of hands by those in authority to preach the gospel and administer in the ordinances thereof. Somebody can tell me what that means. So you have to ask yourself, quote, was Mike Stroud called, set apart, and commissioned by those in authority to preach a doctrine such as seeking the spirit realm and being instructed by, quote unquote, translated beings about your future mission? Yeah. And so they go all full on blitz. You know, he started talking about experimental gospel. Here's preparing a people right here. This is the very flipping weekend that him and Lori were sealed in the temple. I believe it was legit. Oh, I've heard so many times you can't do it proxy. You know, you can't you can't be by yourself in the temple. And then now it's like once they've proved records in the court in both trials, now everybody's like, yeah, well, it's just a proxy, or it's just a seal, you know, it's dead people. And I'm like, I don't give a shit. That's James, that's Elena, that's Lori, that's Chad. Okay. That's what happened. So whatever, I'm not trying to poo-poo all over anyone's beliefs. I'm just trying to figure out this puzzle. Like I'm a realist, you know, like I just want to know the truth. I don't really care. I just want to know what happened, because I mean, I just think that the victims deserve that to their stories, not to be told wrongly so that it'll happen to all the other kids in the future that happened to R. Frankie and E. Frankie, and could have very well almost happened to Melanie Boudreaux's kids. I'm sorry. Call me paranoid. Call me just whatever. Just whatever. I'll still call you my friend. Honestly, I don't even know where to start, but I will start with his recent presentation that he gave at the Preparing a People, which I have that speech on my channel. Gave at the Preparing a People conference on November 16th through the 16th and 17th, 2018. This is when Chad came in. That's when Lori created the fictitious email and pretended to be Charles, wanting Chad to fly in and stay. Was that done? I'll have to check that. No, I just got backward or, you know, mixed up with that. Why do I feel like that's another time? It was a couple other times. But also, when I read the insert the other day from the FOIA docs, and I was reading just, you know, about the time frame right around the time that Charles showed up at Lori's house to get JJ, and then I also included Jason Mao, Nicole Earl, and how Nicole and Lori went to the temple, and it was like September 21st, 2018. And they went and met Nicole and Lori went and met Jason in the temple in the celestial room. And then he put Lori in touch with Melanie, the point person there in Arizona. And then Melanie introduces Lori to Chad via the damn Preparing a People conference, October 26, 2018, allegedly in St. George, Utah. And it's been shitty from there. Okay. So I'm just saying that Lori also talked the same kind of way She actually approached, or she wrote an email to Jason Mao, and she was like, I want to have you come speak to our youth or something. And I'm like, you don't even, you're like hoeing around, like you're unhappy. You're so unhappy and you're about to meet your lover and wipe out your family. And so, like Colby's getting married, right in 2017 and that time frame. And so you're like, what youth group? Why are you? It sounded very reminiscent of how they say, like Serena said that she called Jason Mao also over there in Connecticut somewhere to go speak for the youth. And then, whoa. Oh shit. Remember how Serena also called Jason Mao to go speak to the youth? Lori asked Jason Mao to speak to the youth. Guess where Jason Mao was the weekend that JJ was murdered? He was in Billings, Montana, 5 hours away, allegedly speaking to the youth. Okay, well, that's how my brain works. So, anyways, all right, I'm embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed. Anyways, all right, I'm tired. I'm going to bed. It's been crazy. Y'all, this is crazy. They crazy. They drive me insane. They don't drive me mad, though. I'm about done with them. So, that's good. I can't wait. Just ready to sharpen this up. I can't do like that. I can't do what I just did. And that's just me. You're just allowing me to speak Mormonese. And I appreciate you for that. Because it's a puzzle piece that's so huge. Oh, okay. I'm so glad, Angie. I'm so glad. Thank you. It sucks being alone. I mean, it's very weird stuff, and I feel crazy. I sound like a damn piece of gator or something. You know what I mean? I'm just like, oh my God. What did I just say? When you're like repeating all the weird stuff that they do, and you're like, it's not my crazy, but you feel cringe just for repeating it. The James and Elena story, prime example. I can't get through that unless somebody else reads it, because it's just nauseating. That's what you need to read, Joe Schmo, is the damn James and Elena story. I dare you. I double dog dare you. Don't do it. Yeah. I'm just glad. Okay. Well, I'm going to go. I'm tired and I'm hungry. So, we'll schedule for Sunday. We'll just do a regular mainstream. We'll do above the belt, topics, You are not Ken Krogh having a playlist on YouTube of the pineal gland and Gordon Bowen and my uncle in this case. You remember that? Remember when I found that? Live. I found that live when we were talking about Janet Russin, and I was showing y'all how I'd found his playlist. Wait. And that's when that's when I saw a video in his playlist, I saw a video of Gordon Bowen, and I was like, oh shit. Oh my God. Like, I freaked out. That was like, whoa. Like, how do so they know it's like, well, they're orbiting way too close, and, who else was doing that, recently? Oh, when Ken Krogh showed up over here and Goel was talking about him, he showed up. Ken Krogh shows up to be, what do you call that? Deposed by another alleged church, LDS Church of Satan Punisher, Joe Binion. It's weird. It's like bloodline wars, or I don't freaking know. It's weird. I feel stupid even saying that. I'm just like, that doesn't sound right. But they will never be normal. Amen, sister. The first time we were reading through when we were reading through it. It was KJ. Oh my God, I was driving. It was horrible. I was laughing so hard. Oh my gosh. And I mean, that's just nasty. Woo. I don't know. It's cringe. That is cringe of the century. Thank God he didn't write any further into that. He can do all the writing he wants now. He just can't publish it because I will be there. I will be there. Oh, question. I have a question. I always have questions. If I were to if there were to be some kind of, what do you call that? Way to hold these people accountable via using RICO or the law or civil, all the ways to hold people accountable, whether it be by charges or if it were suing them for, you know what I mean? All the things. Can you that wouldn't include Spring Creek Book Company, huh? I was just wondering. And I know I don't want to say it because it's cryptic, and or I'm saying it cryptic, and I don't want to just put it out there. I don't want people to know all my plan, but they might as well just get ready for it. I'm straight up I'm outlining this just to look just like Jodi Hill. It'll probably be an extension of that lawsuit that was filed by Michael Tillman. I mean, it's perfect. If not, it'll be a good book. Or if I can't do it, then I can maybe hand it all the work over, all of that outline over to my parents. They can do whatever they want with it. Cole and Zach, they can do whatever they want with it. I don't know. I'm only one out of all of us, I think, for sure, that has researched it like this, to prove that there is a criminal enterprise. I want Chad and Lori on it because they're part of it. They are part of it. All assets, right? Boats and hoes. I'm just kidding. Anyways, that was inappropriate, but I'm tired, so. Yeah, they all make me so damn angry. How can they consider themselves as something holy? I know. And we're the bad ones, right? We're the baddies. Yeah, that too. I mean, whatever. I just got to do working on the groundwork, because that's a lot. It is a lot. I mean, I'm probably, and I know I'm blowing it way out of proportion because that's what I do. I overthink and I over prepare and then I totally, overcrowd my mind. And then it's a battle that me and myself do every day. What they practice and what enterprise vents this practice, maybe in that nature. Yeah. I mean, and there are murders. There's people that could be charged, and Gumshoe Graham, she had outlined, I did not know because we had read the Jodi Hildebrand and Pam Botcher and Connections and Ruby Frankie and all them enterprise. We read that lawsuit. And then, so that got me thinking, just book form, it's like, oh, this is the way it's laid out. It just was easy to follow and understand without all the rigmarole. Okay. All the conjecture. And so then I was like, well, this is an enterprise. This is an extension of that enterprise. This is just another leg of Jodi Hildebrand and all their enterprise. Okay. Tim Ballard, another leg, same people, same casting circle, if you ask me. Maybe different coven, but same. Bert, they do. I mean, Chad Daybell's company, sponsored. I mean, you don't just be sponsoring people. Chad Daybell, of all people, okay? He looked like he didn't even want to pay for his own gas, or he looked like a cheap ass. You know what I mean? Like, doop-a-doo. I don't know. It's just my impression. Lori paid for every one of the flights and stuff. I mean, come on. But anyways, so that got me thinking, and then I just happened to turn I found her channel, Gumshoe Graham, and I just always liked her take on it. It's been a while since I heard her or listened to her videos, and she was like, "All right, this is a RICO. This is an enterprise," and I was like, like, we're about to do this, Yeah, that's pretty. It's just, yeah, the light bulb was a shining. So that too. Yeah. Yeah. I do need to do that. I also need to I need to talk to an attorney first. Then I can tell whomever if I need to. If not, you'll know before anybody else. Because yeah, that too. Because I talk to you guys all the time. Because y'all are my family. So thank y'all for being my fam. You'll be there? All right. It's a date. All right. Cool deal. Even documents showing how they can portaling. Yeah. Yep. I know. You just subbed to Gumshoe Graham. I don't know what happened to her. I hope she's okay, but she just kind of, I don't want to say the word, left or, just stopped uploading. And so everybody was like, is she okay? I remember Nora Jasmine asking about her, but she's got a lot of knowledge. She was a social worker in her career. She was born, she was a teenager in like 60s and 70s. And anyway, so she just loved whenever she did, upload videos and stuff and talk about the case. She loved advocating for Charles and the kids and Tammy and for Joe and for Tammy, for all of them. And then she's kind of a no bullshit kind of like I am. I'm just like, you can believe who you want, or you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't care who you believe. Just don't be defending something that I'm learning different about, like, that's not my experience. So it's, I don't know. I just don't like the power. And it's nothing but people defending. And I've told y'all this before, they're elevating a place, a church, 4 walls, well, very expensive walls that go high up in the ceiling. I mean, into the sky. Cause a lot of trouble some places, but they're defending a place and not human life. People are putting, I don't know, not God, because God and church are not the same, but they're taught that they are one and of the same. Like, they're the same thing. If you leave the church, if you don't believe in Joseph Smith anymore, then you leave God, most likely. If not, I'm so glad to hear that, because that really sucks. It's like people are done with it. And I understand their experience too. It's very, I just can't imagine. That's just got to be very, very difficult for those of you who have left the church or any kind of place like that. I'm proud of you. If nobody has told you lately, I'm proud of you. And, but it just really sucks when people put those things and their beliefs, their ideas, their perception, their indoctrination, their cognitive dissonance is a mofo. And like, they put that above Tylee and JJ and everyone else who's victimized by the church or churches of the like, or, you know what I'm saying? These institutions who hold people in bondage and F with their salvation, in my opinion. So it is. And I didn't know all that getting into this, I was like, just going through life, popping bubbles. And then, whoa, crazy. Oh, well, text me and let me know, Chris. Let me know. Creator doesn't exactly. What is the difference in the church saying, do not fall on false prophets or false, whatever the hell they say? Whenever Denver Snuffer was cramping their style. And I'm like, what's the difference in a prophet and a medium? Okay, don't be telling people what they can do. If people are spiritual, if people are whatever, just don't hurt anybody with it. Don't use anybody with it. Don't manipulate anybody with it. That's the problem. We manipulate. We complicate the world. Oh, fast and testimony. Usually the first words out of people's mouths were, I know the church is true. Yeah. I remember my friend Jen sending me some TikToks back in the day. I still have them somewhere. But there was this one, and he was like, they had like imposed lips or something, and they were like, it was like biblical character. Anyways. And they were like, I know the church is true. And it was funny. That's when I found the Hosanna to God and the Lamb. I was like, oh, that is a lot of people in that congregation. And then I'll have to tell you my theory on that one day, Joe. Pretty crazy. Huh? Oh, for what? For what? Please tell me portaling, because I hope nothing else. Her Jeep. You remind me of my Jeep. R. Kelly, he ain't good either, right? None of them are good. They all lied. Mm-mm. Yes, they do. Catholics too. I'm like, saints praying to, who? I don't know. I just don't do that anymore. I'm just like, till I can figure it out and learn for myself and not just have somebody tell me what I need to be praying and to whom and all that. It's right here. This is my temple. It's a little fluffy right now, but working on it. Really? I remember my grandpa making fun of fast and testimony reading travel logs. I've never heard of travel logs, so you must embellish. Definitely. And the crazy or the most troubling, well, one of the most troubling parts about this is that they have to hold dual membership, at least the Hamblin kind, at least what I think that Lori and Chad belong to. I mean, that's not trying to condemn the entire church and say bad, it's just saying, I know that not everybody is practicing Satanist. Okay. I just know that there's this huge group that's probably multiplied a couple times. I don't know. We never found out because it was a memo by Bishop Glenn Pace, and it just kind of was never meant to be seen by you or you or me, and how everything is dismissed and thrown a label on it, and it's supposed to be taboo. It's supposed to, it's like it's dual purpose, or so many purposes, multi-purposes. Whenever you label somebody, that allows that person to stop thinking. It's equivalent to this. Whenever we found out that Alex, according to Melanie and effing David Warwick, we found out by them, they're nobody else. I mean, they can make up the whole damn alibi, the whole damn story, their narrative, according and tailored around the freaking evidence, which I feel like they did. I feel like Audrey did too. But I feel like, when they say that Alex came in with Jade, we were podcasting, but the link was broken. Out of all the podcasts they were pumping out, right? The weekend that Tylee died, the weekend that JJ died, they just, they had a problem with that podcast. But anyways, whatever. We see through that shit. When she says Alex walks in with JJ's head on his shoulder, they're podcasting though. I stopped thinking because I was like, he was dead. That's what I thought. I'm sure a lot of you thought that too. I don't think that now. I don't think that at all happened at all. I think the only thing we can bank on is the fact that not even David's nightmare. Just pretend that shit didn't even happen. Pretend you don't have Melanie and David's freaking testimony, because all they are, they're the conspirators. I think, like with the LDS Church of Satan, how they have the protectors, straight up, not making that shit up. They have the peacemakers, the conspirators, the Peter Familius, the Punisher, the I can't think of all the names. Different roles of different family members. Remember how Gib was sent by Alex and Melanie Pulowski to go check on Brandon Boudreaux to go snoop, because she's a snoop. She's a gossip. Anyways, I feel like it's just like how David Levitt is supposedly the conspirator. He's supposed to spin things, and goodness, he held office and stuff and prosecuted cases in Utah County, one of the counties that they allegedly abused in. So it's crazy that the Hamlin daughters have not found justice since this happened, since they were born. And then came forward in the 90s, right as the Glenn Pace memo was not coming out, because he reported it to the leadership just like they asked. And Governor Bangeter or Governor Utah something. Anyways, all right, my head's about to explode. What did Chris say? What? You must have said something really funny. She tries hard on TikTok with her belly button. What? Is there a belly button video I need to see? That's so picture Julie Rowe. I know. Doing that. I am whatever the fuck. Oh, sorry. Whatever the hell she said. I am alpha. I forget what she said. Picture that being like around JJ and Tylee or R and E or all these kids, where they scared the shit out of them, and to the brink of death, to putting bags over their heads and then dunking their heads in water, and Ruby saying, "Can you hear me?" And I mean, JJ was found with a bag on his head. I'm just like, not a far stretch. Not a far stretch. Pretty nasty. Anyways, we call it a telemony. A telemony. Oh, not testimony. Okay, I get it. When we were visiting a temple and blah blah blah. All right. I know. Both of them. I mean, I would assume that Tylee would have crossed paths with Chad somewhere. Somewhere. And I wonder what room Chad slept in whenever he went to Lori and Charles's house, and all those women were there. And did they have James and Elena in one of the kids' bedrooms? Did they do all that? Anyways, happy Friday. Right. Anyways, give Timmy a taste of his own words, right? Free will. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go. I'm tired. I know I don't need to be holding y'all up. All right. Justice for Tylee, Charles, Tammy, JJ, and Joe. I'll see you guys Sunday at around 7:38. Okay. And we'll do this again. Thank y'all so much for being here. Thank you for the super chats. Holy crap. I'm gonna count them out. Thank you again. KJ and Mr. Wayne, y'all have a safe trip. Have fun. Don't freeze. Okay. And thank you, Fancy Nancy, again. The dates, the trial starts March 31st in the year of our Lord, 2025. My God, I need to go clear my throat. And then where'd that one go? Okay. And then little Brands, thank you so much. Lurking while working. It's our girl. And thank you, Jennifer. Again, I appreciate you. And there was also a Venmo the other day. Oh my God. I thanked her through the app, but thank you. You know who you are. So I can pull all this together. And then Chris, always thank you. And thank you for your input and everything that you share, just a meeting of the minds, right? Thank God, because my hand's losing it. And thank you, Oh, I wanted to, he said, or Rad Joel said earlier, mentally fit. That's a stretch. And I thought it was kind of funny. Anyways. And then Warwickry Becky, travel fun. I updated my name for you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support for sure. And then I'd started this one too, Janelle. Thought that was interesting. I bet you it's the same folk. I do. Great job, Ladybug. Thank you, Zenaida Rivera. Again, thank y'all so much for being here. I appreciate you guys. I'll talk to you Sunday. Bye.